What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? It's an exciting weekend for you, Cleveland. It's an exciting week. Things are winding down in the Major League Baseball. We're gonna get Cleveland's opinion. He's been touting the Seattle Mariners all season long, and we're gonna get Cleveland's opinion on how he thinks they're doing. There you go. Were
What's
you,
up,
were
bro?
you,
What's
were
up,
you
guys?
shopping? Were you shopping, man?
Good
Was
job.
you in the mall? You was good.
Nah, I'm not shopping. I was headed to Wally's, and then you hit me up about the list. So I'm like, yo, I gotta at least log on, talk to y'all for at least a little bit. So is my background loud?
No, you good?
Yes.
Man,
Now your
how's your
background's
connection?
good.
Okay, cool. Well,
Your
yeah, nah,
connection.
yeah, I'm
You can
here.
hear him, Cleveland?
We here.
I
I can
can't hear
hear
him,
him.
Cleveland. He got me.
That
I'm
must be
all
your
fucked up,
connection,
man.
bro.
Maybe, huh?
That must be your connection, bro, because I can hear you.
I don't know, man. I'm sitting here stable. Got all my bars. You can hear me good.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do this. What's good? What's good, Pavi? What's good, Cleveland? Every week, man, we get started off. This is week 158 of the Voice of the Fans podcast, September 29, week 158. Pavi, we start our show. We come down with numbers.
Okay.
When you think of the number 29, who comes to your mind first, or who wore that number best?
I don't even know who is the number 29, bro.
Okay, somebody wore the 29. It don't have to be who, anybody. Major League Baseball, race car driving,
I'm gonna tell you
football.
honestly. All right, so I'm assuming you saying that because of the day. It's September 29th.
Because of who?
So this is actually my 7th year anniversary of moving to LA. So on September 29th, that's what comes to mind for me. I have no idea who wears number 29 at all. But on September 29th today, that's what comes to mind for me personally.
Is some anniversary. Whose anniversary is it?
It's my anniversary of moving to LA.
Oh, how 7 years ago?
Yep, 7 years ago. So on the 29th, that's yeah. So for me, that's what it is. I have no idea who wears number 29. Wait,
All
hold
right.
on. Was Sean Alexander number 29?
Who?
Sean
37.
Alexander.
37.
He was 37? Okay, shit. I don't even know. I have no idea then, bro.
All right.
That's an odd number.
Cleveland. You heard of Rock Carew? Have you heard of Rock Carew, Pavi?
I,
Rock Carew. Have you heard of Satchel Paige?
no.
No.
I've heard of Rock
All right.
Carudo.
Huh?
I've heard of Rock Carudo.
Yeah, he wore 29 a long time ago. Cleveland, who you got, man?
So, Cam, what comes to mind first is that free safety that played in the Legion of Boom, a cat named Earl Thomas III.
Oh, ain't that a bitch?
Did it as well.
Ain't that a
You know what I'm
bitch?
saying? Generational safety. The player that wore the best of running back that played for the Los Angeles Rams and the Indianapolis Colts and the Atlanta Falcons and the Los Angeles Raiders, a cat named Eric Dickerson.
Okay.
He did play for the Raiders too. He did play for the Raiders. Yeah, Pappy. That question was should have been easy. It was Eric Dickerson.
I don't know
hands
Eric
down.
Dickerson number, man.
I mean, it's okay. You don't know. You don't want football. And I'm mad at you guys too. You guys said you weren't playing no fantasy football. I needed a piece of that. I
No,
needed a
look,
piece of that
listen. No,
ass.
listen.
You guys weren't gonna play fantasy football. You said you was gonna play, and you didn't play. I wanted a piece of that
Oh,
ass
no.
right there.
No, look, listen. Here go what happened. I had no plans on playing fantasy football. I ran into BD out somewhere. He was like, "Yo, have y'all joined my fantasy football league?" I'm like, "Nah, but send me the link." That's the only reason I'm in a fantasy football league right now. That's literally the only reason why.
Man, yeah, I needed you guys in there. I needed
But I'm
you guys
terrible
in
at
there.
fantasy football, bro. I'm like 0-3 right now, and it's probably not gonna get better.
I
It's
mean,
not gonna get better.
You only a couple games better than Cleveland, so I mean, I just
No,
need
I'm in
somebody
third
to beat
place,
up on.
Playboy. Don't get all don't get all out there like that. That's misleading the people, misleading our fans, Cam. No, it's not like that, fans. I'm in third place.
Okay, shout out you.
Yeah. He is there right now. All right, fellas, we back on.
We're
Pat, you
back
with us?
on.
Pav, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Everybody's good.
Okay. All right. Number 58. Now this is probably before your time, no Pavy. Before number 58, when you think of this number, who wore this number best? Guy first coming on my mind. Well, one of the guys is Wilbur Marshall. You heard of Wilbur Marshall, I know.
No. Wilbert Marshall?
Number 85. Excuse me, part of that 85 Bears team.
Bro,
I thought
only
they was.
people I know, literally. Listen,
I thought everybody.
Listen, here go the people I know on that team, right? Walter Payton, Jim McMahon, Mike Singletary, Richard Dent. That's about what it lists. Oh, the right linebacker or left linebacker.
That's Wilbur Marshall.
That's Wilbur Marshall.
All right. I take your word for it, bro. That's before my time, yo.
Yeah,
That's before my time.
Cleveland, who you got?
Oh man, I got Derrick Brooks, A and B, man. He was the most dominant. He was the most fluid pass rusher from that position I've ever seen.
Derrick Brooks was 50. He was 55 though.
Derrick Brooks? I'm sorry, Derrick Thomas?
Derrick Thomas was 58.
No, 58.
Alabama. Alabama. Did you recognize? Did you know he played for Alabama?
Man, that was a long time. Man, that was before all that Saban stuff, man. That was before that Saban stuff. Don't throw him in that. Don't throw him in that bin.
All right, Pav. Since we got you, I don't know if you saw our list, man. Since
I saw the list.
We're gonna jump into it, and then you're gonna have to explain to the fans, Pavy, why you think. Let me go down the list. Why you think Hal Greer should be on the top list over Tony Parker? Why you think Dave DeBusschere should be on the list more than Dirk Nowitzki? Why you think Billy Cunningham should be on the list more than LeBron James? Or Dave Cowan should be on the list more than Kevin Garnett? Go ahead and tell the people why you think these old timers need to be on this top 75 of all time list.
Because you can't discount what they did just because you didn't see it. Like if you go back,
I'm not discounting it.
But you are. When you want to take people off a list, listen, bro. Listen. When you want to take people off a list, that means you're discounting what their accomplishments were when they did it, which I'm not gonna do. Like again, if you look at Dolph Schayes probably has a Now, granted, I'm not looking at the stats right now, but Dolph Schayes probably has a comparable NBA. Listen, no, like Dolph Schayes probably has a comparable NBA career like Kevin Durant. Well, not Kevin Durant. Kevin Garnett. Bob Pettit has a comparable NBA career to whoever you want to put Bob Pettit up against. Rather you saw it.
Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan. You think
no.
If you line up on the wall, I got Bob Pettit or Tim Duncan. Who you taking, Pat?
You can't do that, bro. You looking at evolution, 50 years worth of training. Like you can't do that. If you take Bob Pettit, birthed the man in 1975, and he getting 2000s level training,
he probably not gonna play. He probably not gonna be playing. We're not gonna be playing power forward at 210. 6'8", 210.
If you birth him in 1975 and you give him 2000 level training, he's not gonna be that small, bro. So you can't discount that, bro. Like you can't do this. So I don't want to take people. I'm fully down to add people to the list. So I think at least with the next, 25 people that we want to name, you have very, very deserving guys. But I don't want to take off people because what they did was before my time. Because somebody had to even do that for the people that we know now to even get here. So I don't want to take them off. And if you just strictly look at basketball careers, a guy like Bob Pettit probably has a better basketball career than 95% of the people that you want to name that should be on the list over him in the next 25.
You taking Paul or Zine over Kobe Bryant, baby?
No, but I mean, no. Come on,
that's
bro.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
No,
that's exactly what I'm saying. There gotta be some change. There gotta be some modifications. I hear what you're saying. Hear what you're saying. You're trying to respect what the old schools did, and me as an old school cat, I respect what you're saying. But there come to a limit where you have to be like, okay, was Dave Cowan's impact as much as Kevin Garnett's impact?
Yes,
to the game of basketball.
He won an MVP.
Okay,
he won one championship. Now, granted, not going home. Wait,
real quick. Playing for those Celtics of the 60s.
What Celtics? Because Larry Bird wasn't there yet.
No, I'm saying I know, I understand that.
And Havlicek was old. So what Celtics?
Them late 60 Celtics he was playing for.
He didn't win on that team. That's
those 74, 76 Celtics.
Okay. He's
What we
74,
doing here?
76.
What we doing?
Was his impact more than what Kevin Garnett has done to the game?
Debatable. In his
It's
time,
debatable.
he's one of the best centers of the 70s. And the 70s is the 70s arguably is the era of centers. You had Bob in there, you had Kareem, you had Willis Reed, like arguably Bill Walton.
We just had this argument earlier. We had the same argument earlier. I'm trying to add some players. So you're right. So Billy Cunningham and LeBron James, man.
I mean, obviously, bro, Bron is LeBron James. But again, if you look at basketball resumes, Bill Cunningham doesn't have a better basketball resume than LeBron James. Bill Cunningham might have a better basketball resume than some of the other people you're trying to take him off for, though.
Him in playing and coaching. I agree with you in that case. So let's take it from. We know who the top 50 is. Mm-hmm. You want me to recite them? You want to recite them real quick? The top 50.
I mean, if you want to, we don't have to.
We'll go. Let's go to our additions then, because I know Pavy about to get moving and shaking out there. So let's go to some additions right there. Look, the horns honking and everything. I hope you ain't in nobody's way over there.
Nah, I'm out the way a little bit. I'm in Beverly Hills.
All right, so we got outside of the top 50, we added 25 players.
Okay.
We got Ray Allen, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, Gary Payton.
We got Ray Allen.
Ray Allen. You don't think Ray Allen is on the top 50?
I want to see who else you put in there. I want to see who else you name. Continue.
Listen, Reggie Miller.
I just want to see who else you name.
I got Al Iverson.
Okay.
Reggie Miller, Dennis Rodman, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Jason Kidd, Kyrie Irving, Paul Gasol. Did he make the list? Manu Ginobili, Klay Thompson, Paul Pierce, Dominique Wilkins, Chris Bosh, Dwight Howard.
Got Manu. Stop. You got Manu on this list, but you want to take Billy Cunningham and Paul Arzon off?
Wait, hold on. Manu got 4 rings, boss. Manu got 4 rings.
All right, man. Okay, keep going.
Again, this is what we need to hear. Yeah, I got Manu, Klay, Paul Pierce, Dominique, Chris Bosh, Dwight Howard. Here's where it gets kind of murky. Chris Webber, Bob McAdoo, Chris Mullen, and then
Dominique.
You can talk me out of
no Dominique.
Yeah, Dominique's in there. I mentioned Dominique after Paul Pierce. Did I have Melo? I didn't have.
Yeah, Melo on the list, my man. Melo was on our list.
Melo's on Cleveland's list.
Okay.
But Melo should be on this list, actually, to be honest with you. Chris Paul, Ben Wallace, and Anthony Davis. Chris Paul, Ben Wallace, Anthony Davis. You know how I feel about Ben Wallace. Anthony Davis, I think, is
Giannis should be on there. Giannis should be on there.
Giannis is on there.
Okay.
I got Giannis on there already.
Okay.
I got Giannis on there. So who are you questioning on this list? You were questioning Manu. Paul Gasol. I'm not sure Cleveland how he made my list. Man.
I would question Manu, Powell, maybe Klay and Ray Allen. And where did you have Steve Nash on there? Did you have Steve Nash?
Steve Nash is on there.
How are you? Wait, what's your argument for Ray Allen not to be on the list, bro? Are you familiar with Ray's game?
But I don't have a list of people I don't have a list of people right in front of me. But I feel like it's a couple more people I would name before I get to those people. A few more people I would name.
Just name a couple of those people you would name before you got to Ray Allen.
I mean, I think you probably had Dwight on the list. Obviously, you had Harden on the list. All right, man. You know what? Maybe you might be right. But Ray is fair. Powell is a little.
Powell, yeah.
Powell's a little.
Powell's on there, but Manu, you're not impressed with Manu.
No, I don't think I would go Manu. I think Dame has a case. A case.
See,
I think Dame has a case.
See, I took Dame off. Dame was on the initial list.
Okay.
But I'm thinking he was kind of early. It's kind of early for Dame to be on the top 75 list. The same with Anthony Davis, but considering he has a ring.
Fair.
Considering he has a ring and what he did that year to get the ring. Dame was kind of early though. Dame was premature.
That's fair.
I don't know what. So who else did you have an issue? Who would you rather see on the list outside of Pau Gasol? And I can't believe you. Talk to me about Manu. How is Manu to not make your list? So
I just don't think Manu was one of the top 75 greatest players to ever play. I just don't like NBA wise. I don't. If we talk about and you add in like his Euro basketball career, obviously you have a point because in Euro he was what he was. But NBA, I don't think he's one of the top 75 NBA players ever played. I think you can make an argument he was never top 10 in the NBA.
he was never top 10 in the NBA.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So how do you become a top 75 player and you were never even top 10 at any point in the NBA in your career?
Was those Spurs doing what they were doing without Manu?
No, but I think you could have substituted. Like, listen. I think that those teams, the consummate was Tim Duncan. And as long as Tim Duncan was there, you could fit in pieces to work around Tim Duncan. Now, obviously, Manu was great. Tony Parker was great. Not saying these players weren't great, but I think the consummate was Tim Duncan. And you could fit in other players around Tim Duncan as long as Tim Duncan was there. In my personal opinion.
But while Tim Duncan was there, Tony Parker also won NBA Finals MVP. So are you saying Tony Parker was kind of he was interchangeable?
Yeah, I think you could have interchanged with somebody for sure. I think if you take real quick. Did y'all say Jason Kidd?
Jason Kidd.
We did say Jason Kidd, and sorry, Bobby.
What's up?
The Tony Parker thing being interchangeable, no, not so. Tony Parker is the straw that stirred the drink. Like you're saying, you have the foundation of the greatest power forward that's ever played the game. Big fundamental.
Right.
And there's nothing that supersedes or can replace that. However, the players around him, the Manu is, questionable. It's a big question mark. The TP, the Tony Parker, not so much.
I just think there were other point guards in that era where if you put them on that team, they could have had some of the same results.
Not from that era. I mean, he's the person that put Gary Payton, kicked him out of the Western Conference as being the most dominant point guard. Tony Parker with the start-stop. And like Cam is saying, with Tim Duncan on the team, did win the NBA Finals MVP. So
yes.
Not easy to do. And not just anybody could have done that. That's not a Chauncey Billups type of thing to do. That's not even really a Jason Kidd type of thing to do because he didn't really because those guys didn't impact the game in the same way that Tony Parker did.
And for the sake of argument, in that series, considering who he was being guarded by and going up against, I think that's possible. Just for the sake of that one series. In that one series. This is not me taking nothing away from Tony Parker. I just think there's other people I would get to before I get to Manu and Tony, personally.
I can feel you on the Manu. The Tony is hard. It's hard to reach for another point guard.
Look, I feel you, and look. After first, you know what convinced me on Tony actually was actually the year he played in Charlotte when he actually got away from the Spurs. Granted, he was much older, but he was still. I mean, obviously, he was like 36 years old. But it's just after the thigh injury, but he was still very effective in doing some of the things that he did while he was with the Spurs, where you could see, okay, if you take this guy and you put him in other scenarios, he still probably would have been successful. So I understand that. I do think Tony Parker is underrated. But again, I just think it's some other people we could probably get to.
So now, are you calling Manu a system player? Did you just call Manu a system player?
No, you just say he's one of 70. No, you just say he's one of the 75 greatest ever to ever touch a basketball. This is not me. Look. If we get to 100, fine, put him in there. But you say he's one of the 75 greatest people to ever touch a basketball.
So
in the NBA.
So I'm gonna give you some other names, and you tell me if you would replace Manu with either one of these guys.
Okay.
A Grant Hill, a Tracy McGrady, a Mitch Richmond, a Adrian Dantley, and Alex English.
Adrian Dantley probably, yeah. Tracy, my heart wants to say Tracy, but like,
yeah, but you already know.
No,
but the body of work just doesn't back it up.
You already know.
The body of work, but the body of work isn't.
Not extensive enough to put him in this category of 75 greatest.
For sure.
Talent-wise, absolutely. I mean, in his prime, nobody could really stop Tracy. He had the most beautiful 50-point game I've ever seen in my life. against Denver, and it was just like, wow, did he really just? How did he get to 50 doing that? It was just so like effortless, but it was just just glimpses, right? It wasn't like a consistent thing.
The injuries.
Unfortunately,
the injuries, and then he didn't
Adrian
win.
Dantley, I would say Adrian Dantley though. I would go with
You
Adrian
would
Dantley.
say Adrian
you
Dantley.
put AD on it.
Adrian
Okay.
Dantley. I would say
I think
Adrian Dantley.
Adrian, he's top 15 in scoring, top 15 in rebounding, if I remember correctly. Top 20.
You know how
in
crazy that
rebounding.
is?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's why he's on. That's why I talked about it. But when I look at it, I was trying to look at somebody who actually won, and winning is, you got to
It is a
have won
criteria
something.
for this list.
You got to have won something or been a major factor. And then Adrian didn't win. That's
He was
all.
to the finals, but he was wait. He was Joe Dumars. Was he on the original top 50? Why you making that face?
He wasn't on the original top 50.
Why you making that face?
No, I
Why
like
you making
Joe.
that face?
Top 75.
You put Mono
You know
on
what?
there?
You know what? Joe could go over your guy. Joe would go over your guy, Ben Wallace. Joe would be on there over your guy, Ben Wallace. Yeah.
Why we keep doing this, bro? Why we gotta keep doing this, bro?
Why
we gotta keep
doing
this?
You know Joe D
here's-
makes a list for
here's
Ben
what I'm
Wallace,
gonna tell
right?
you. Here's what I'm gonna
You
tell
know
you.
Joe D makes lists for Ben Wallace, right?
No,
You-
Ben
here's
Wallace
what-
was a
no,
four-time defensive player of the year. That don't matter. And he won a ring.
What was Joe?
Joe won 2 rings.
Joe won
I
2 of them.
understand. Look,
and,
listen.
and he was the one responsible for guarding the greatest of all time.
Actually, the whole team was responsible for guarding the greatest of all time. They was fouling the hell out the man. But that's a whole nother conversation. but over Ben Wallace, no. But I do think Joe Dumars is I think as much credit as Isaiah Thomas gets for those teams, I think people don't give Joe Dumars enough credit for what he did for those teams, for those Pistons teams.
So with that same logic, when I say Klay Thompson, you don't want to give Klay Thompson deserved the same type of credit that Joe Dumars did. In fact, he's a better scorer than Joe.
I don't think he deserves the same type of credit that Joe Dumars did.
Because I think of listen, wait.
Who
does Steph Curry guard in any of those finals? Who does Steph Curry guard?
Huh?
He wasn't. Who does Steph Curry guard in any of those finals? Who did Steph Curry guard? He wasn't guard. And then look at who Klay Thompson was guarding.
Who did Klay guard?
Big difference.
Who did Klay guard?
Whoever Steph was
Let's
guarding.
keep it. Hold on, wait.
He was guarding Steph's man.
Let's keep it all the way real. Let's keep it all the way real. Klay was not stopping a single soul in any of those finals. The first finals, Kyrie knee exploded. He had like 28. The second finals, did you see Game 5? What Kyrie was doing to that man, to everybody? 2017, they got cooked, but Kyrie was balling. 2018, everybody got hurt.
Kyrie, though.
Let's keep it all the way real. Who did he guard in the finals? Be real.
We talking about Kyrie, though. We talking about Kyrie. We're not talking about.
I mean,
Kyrie,
at that level, we talking about the best 75. Of the best. We only talking about the finals. At that level, we talking about the best of the best.
So who did he guard up to get there? He was guarding whoever Steph's man was. Klay Thompson was guarding him.
They were really
the same as Joe. They're really essentially the same player. Except Klay got a better 3-point shot.
I think Klay. I think Joe Dumars has a better. Well, I think Joe Dumars has a better individual resume than what Klay does. Look at his all defensive teams. I'm pretty sure it's way more than what Klay has right now. And I don't know if Klay gonna ever get no more. God bless him.
Because of me. Oh, Cleveland, what do you think?
That's a very interesting debate. Typically, I like to go with the.
That was a good call, though, Pat.
Yeah, typically I like to go with the Pistons and the original three-headed monster at the guard position with Joe D, Isaiah, and Vinny coming off the bench. Joe D definitely provided a lot of things, but not nearly as explosive as Klay. Can't go for 40 and a quarter. So that in and of itself, I mean, and still plays admirable defense. So, but again, Pav, in the NBA, I don't give as much credence to defense as you do because it's all about who can get buckets. And that's what it's all about. That's how you make your name and your fame. And you talking about somebody that can shut somebody down or set a good screen or get a timely rebound or a block shot, it's not the same as kicking the ball to somebody like, yeah, we need a bucket right now.
I
with 2
disagree with
minutes
that
left.
because there's two sides to the ball. Like that being said, you got to kick the ball to that person, but somebody got to guard that person.
There are two sides of the ball, but one side of the ball is more important, and it is the offensive side of the ball in the NBA. In the NBA, in other sports, you can make that argument other ways, but not in the NBA.
I hear you, but at the same time, you have you have to stop somebody. And most, when you get to the highest level of basketball, everybody can score. It usually comes down to who can get the most stops when you need to get those stops.
It comes down to who is the most unstoppable, not who can just stop anybody. It comes down to who is the most unstoppable in the NBA.
Well,
and when you look to that list, you will see a bunch of players that cannot play a lick of defense. I will start with my guy Carmelo.
Yeah,
I will go to the Iceman George Gervin. I will go to Kyrie Irving. I will go to Magic Johnson. I will go to Larry Bird. These dudes cannot play a lick, not one lick of defense.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to stop you at Magic because even though Magic wasn't a good on-ball defender, Magic would lead the league in steals. That's still contributing on the defensive end. He was still maybe
one time, and he was 6'9". So okay, that I can give you that.
And giving you 8 boards. Like yes, he was not a great on-ball defender, but he wasn't somebody who was an afterthought completely. Maybe he wasn't good on ball, but he was still getting in passing lanes. He was still giving you 2 steals. I think 1 year he gave you like 3.1 steals. That's still
great. And that's great. And that's a great contribution. But when you come down the court on the other side, and the only play you run is this, that means it's just going to the left and it's just going to that guy. He'll make or miss it. If he misses it, okay, we'll just run that play again.
I feel you.
Talk about getting me boards and blocks.
I feel you, but also with all the players that you just named outside of Kyrie, and even, if you look at Kyrie's work on his own, what have they won? If we're talking about winning at the highest levels, what have they won? What has Melo won? What did George Gervin win? Did you see Kyrie's career apart from LeBron?
Thank you. That's what I was thinking.
That makes that's that makes a difference, but at the same time, their contribution is much greater than somebody that just gets boards and blocks and rebounds.
I disagree with that because a guy like Dennis Rodman, like, okay, yeah, Melo will go out there and give you 28, but do you want to say his contribution to the game of basketball is better than what Dennis Rodman gave you?
Absolutely, he's a top 10 scorer of all time.
I'm not saying
I'm with you. I'm with you there, Pav. I'm with you there.
So you're saying that Dennis Rodman.
I would rather have Dennis Rodman on my team, yes, than Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, thank you, Pav.
I would rather have Dennis Rodman. If you gonna listen.
Thank you.
If you gonna go out there and give me 18 rebounds, the man had in the 1996 finals, he set a record in back-to-back games for offensive rebounds. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen collectively had quite possibly the worst playoff series they've ever had together. The 96 finals probably the worst playoff series Michael Jordan ever played. He missed so many shots, but Rodman got 13 offensive rebounds in back-to-back games. Do you know the level of comfort I have to play if I know I can shoot whatever and somebody's gonna rebound the ball 13 times for me?
Yeah, that makes a difference.
First of all, that's offense. You are getting possessions.
You're giving the ball back. Yeah, you're getting the ball right back.
You are getting possessions. I'd rather have Rodman and Melo. Now, if we talk about a guy like LeBron, obviously, who I know people wouldn't consider him one of the greatest scorers ever because he doesn't look as cool, but he is. A guy like LeBron, obviously, no, because LeBron is one of the greatest offensive players to ever play the game of basketball. But a guy like Rodman, he's still contributing to you offensively. Offensive rebounds is offense. So I'd rather have a guy like Rodman and Melo.
So to your point, Pappy, and that was a good call on Joe Dumars. It's somebody I didn't even consider. All defense 5-1 over Klay Thompson. They both were a 5-time All-Star.
All NBA. What is it? Why you laughing? Say it. Come on. Why you laughing?
That was a 6-1. 6-1. All NBA. 6-1.
Exactly.
Yeah, and 3. But I think some of that was who's playing the shooting guard position.
What shooting guards in the league with Klay? What shooting guards in the league with Klay? James Harden. Name another one. You stuttering.
Wasn't Dwayne Wade in the league?
In 2015, you really want to name Dwayne Wade? In the year of our Lord 2015.
You're asking.
In the year of our Lord 2015, you want to name Dwayne Wade. In the year of our Lord 2015, you want to do that? That's what you want to do.
Dwayne Wade. Kobe played. He actually played to 2016.
Listen, man.
He actually played to 2016.
Listen. God bless Kobe. But in the year of our Lord 2015, 2016, you want to name Kobe Bryant? That's what you want to do? You doing that to me?
I'm saying who. That's who he was playing against.
Guards
That's who he was playing with.
Name me the
And
shooting
if
guards.
Harden wins,
Stop.
if Harden wins, he doesn't win All Pro.
Stop.
If he doesn't win All Pro, if Harden takes it.
Stop. Okay, you know what? Since you want to be funny, let me ask you a better question. Name me the shooting guards in their prime from 2015 and 2019 and tell me why Klay couldn't be All-NBA.
I think
so. You got
I think
James
Klay
Harden.
you
got Jimmy
Klay was getting overlooked. I think Klay was getting overlooked.
No, he wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough.
I don't know. I think he was getting overlooked, bro.
No, he wasn't good enough.
And before we looked at the numbers, that's what anybody would have said is Klay was he was getting overlooked.
I wouldn't have said that.
Well, most people would have said
no,
that.
He wasn't good enough.
Most knowledgeable basketball people would have said that.
Also, even defensively, I always thought it was somewhat overrated. You play with probably the best defensive player of your generation right behind you, who covers up everything because he be playing middle linebacker and safety. So always, and you play with Andrew Bogut, who was a very solid defender. Like you played with Iggy. Even Katie, the first year he got there, was a really good help defender. He's still 7 feet. I always thought that was overrated, in my personal opinion.
You were doing good until you said Andrew Bogut. So you was doing good. You was making a good argument until you brought up Andrew Bogut as being a good defender.
Bogut is a good defender, bro.
And Pop, where does Paul George fall into your criteria of all this?
It's a great question. He has a case. Okay, actually, yeah.
He's
on PG over Manu.
PG over Manu.
His basketball career is better than Manu. Yes.
Wow.
Obviously, listen. Obviously, he didn't win. Obviously, he didn't win as much, but his individual career, as far as if you stack them together, is much better. Probably more All NBAs, more All defensive teams. Yeah.
Travis, come on.
Why do we act like? Why do we act like Paul George is Rudy Gay?
What he was doing in Indiana, you take that over what Manu was doing, contributing 6 man of a year? What, 2, 3?
He won it. First of all, he won it once. This is one time. Yeah, do your Googles. Do your Googles.
I'm looking at Paul.
Do your Googles.
Paul George.
Exactly. Read them out. Tell the world.
Four-time Paul George, 4-time All Defensive Team.
Mm-hmm.
6-time NBA All-Star.
Mm-hmm.
All Rookie, 7-time All-Star.
Mm-hmm.
No All Pros.
He ain't got no All NBAs.
No All NBAs.
So he ain't been All NBA no times.
No, not on my list. Not what I'm reading. 7-time All-Star, 4-time All Defense.
That don't sound right, bro.
Still, I'm looking right at it.
Okay. You looking at it?
Let me expand it to maybe I can see something else. 7-time All-Star, Steals champion in 2018-19, 6-time All-Star, 4-time All Defense. That surprised me. 4-time All Defense. 2013 Most Improved. That was coming off his injury. 2011 All Rookie Team.
That was before his injury, by the way.
What
that was the year before the summer he got hurt.
Manu Ginobili, 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 4-time NBA champ, 2003 2002, 2003 All Rookie Team, 6 Man of the Year 1 time. I don't know, man. Four-time NBA champion. I don't know. I'm taking Manu over Paul George. But that's interesting what you say. And I got a couple names. What about Jack Sikma? Where's Jack Sikma on your list?
He's not on there.
He's not on there. The NBA first stretch 5.
Yeah, he's not on there. But nah, he did win a ring with. He did. Yo. Wait. One name, Dennis Johnson. Is Dennis Johnson on there?
Ooh, that's a great call right there.
Dennis Johnson did not make the cut for us. He is a 3-time NBA champion.
Yeah, I think we might need that. Is he taking Chris Paul off the list? He might be removing Chris Paul off the list.
No, he's taking Manu and Powell off the list.
You got him. Oh man, that's a great call right there.
Yeah, Dennis Johnson, and he also won a ring with those the Celtics
and the Sonics.
Seattle teams.
With Celtics and the Sonics. Yeah, and he was. Yeah, that was a great call right there, Pavi. All right, man. You done your work here. I got another question to ask you though.
Ask me. I'm good.
I wish your guy was on the line here because The other day I was watching the show. Did you guys just do your show Monday? Wasn't it Monday? I was watching the happy hour on Monday.
No, I think we did it on what day? We did it last Thursday. We put it up, I think, Friday.
It was Friday. Is that long ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we did it last Thursday. It was Friday. What's up?
Cleveland and I, we went through this already. We went through this during the finals, but you guys talked about the best shot in the hoop. I think TPJ was saying that what shot was he saying was the best shot?
He said that Kawhi shot was a top 5. I think he said the Kawhi shot was a top 5 shot in basketball history.
In basketball history, Kawhi. Yeah, he was wrong. He was wrong.
Yeah, nobody. I don't know if I agree with that. I couldn't think off the top of my head, but like, I don't know if I agree with that.
And then he went to Leitner's shot. Kawhi.
Leitner shot, Kawhi, Robert Horry. I think against he said Robert Horry.
He gave Robert Horry
in the finals.
All right, but nobody mentioned Magic's baby hook.
I mentioned it.
Did you?
Yeah, I said Magic's hook.
Okay, Ray Allen shot over the Spurs.
We didn't mention that. Ray Allen shot should be in there for sure. Ray Allen shot for sure.
Do you remember Rex Chapman shot over the Sonics?
Yeah, you talking about when he like threw it from out of bounds, something like that?
Yeah, when he caught it from out of bounds, hit.
Yeah, that's not better than Kawhi though. Wasn't that like the first round? It was the first round.
Yeah, it was first round. Yeah,
no. Yeah. I would even go with. Now I think one shot. I mean, I don't know if it's better than Kawhi's, but Mario Elliott's shot, Sean Elliott's shot, the tiptoe line shot,
tiptoe. Yeah.
Against Portland. Mario Elliott's shot against Phoenix should be somewhere in there. Kyrie.
That was Kyrie. I thought that's what the shot he said was the best ever in hoop.
I don't know if he said Kyrie. I can't remember.
And he said Kyrie, and then he went to MJ. Now I think the MJ shot was kind of overblown because of who MJ became. Like I don't think that might be top 5 in college hoop. I would go for.
That was a great shot, bro. That was a great shot, bro. It was the shot.
I think it was a shot because they won it, obviously, to win to close it out. But it's overblown because of who MJ became. But the shot, dude shot the air ball. Oh boy, caught it. I want to say it was. Caught it to the alley-oop.
NC State.
Like that was better. For sure. That was better than MJ shot. For
sure.
Did Dame Dollar get any credit for dismissing?
Okay. As far as a shot, that might, as far as level of difficulty of a shot, that might be the most difficult game winner I've ever seen. For the fact that he was wilding from shooting it that far away. But as far as like where you rank it in the Platinum because of the fact it was the first round, I think you got to go below some of the other shots just because of where it happened in the playoffs. But as far as just a shot, as far as difficulty, it might be one of the greatest shots I've ever seen, personally.
All right, man. Before we let you go, what you think about the league saying unvaccinated players would they won't get paid if they miss a game, such as Irving, Bill, Wiggins? What you think?
I mean, my personal opinion is like you work for a company. If your job say you got to do something, then your job say you got to do something. If you don't want to do it, that's fair. But there are consequences. That's the only opinion I have about it. Like the NBA is a private company. A private company can tell you to do whatever if they want to tell y'all got to wear y'all clothes backwards for 2 weeks. Y'all got to wear y'all clothes backwards for 2 weeks. If y'all don't want to wear y'all clothes backwards, well then that's fair because you're your own man. But there will be consequences. That's the same way I feel about that. That's fine. You want to, hey man, more power to you, my brother. Go ahead, but there will be consequences. If you don't need the money, more power to you, my brother.
I'm with you on that one. What you think, Cleveland?
Absolutely. And I feel that it's just very irresponsible of players that don't want to get vaccinated, considering how much opportunity they have to come in contact with other people and the seriousness of what it is that they're doing and how much it can affect the rest of the league. I mean, I just think it's very selfish to not take that extra additional step. Doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't hurt you. So.
Also, Ben Simmons trade, man. I was saying send Ben Simmons to Charlotte. I was saying send Ben Simmons to Charlotte.
How he get to Charlotte, bro?
Well, it's going to be addition by subtraction for Philly. They're going to just get rid of him, and they could take Scary Terry, Rozier and their
Why would I
rookie
do that if
shooting
I'm
guard.
Charlotte?
What do you mean? Why would you if you're
We got
Charlotte?
like
Because you get Ben Simmons, you get an all defensive
nah, bro.
player.
Charlotte has a nice young fun. First of all, did y'all hear Miles Bridges and Terry Rozier's song number one? Did y'all hear that? You have a
No.
nice young fun core in Charlotte. They are represented by Michael Jordan. You have like probably the swaggiest, coolest team in the league. Miles Bridges, one of the
That
top
plays
NBA rappers
zero
ever.
defense.
You
That plays
got
zero defense.
huh?
They play zero defense.
Who cares? We're trying to sell
Wait,
tickets and throw
hold
lobs.
on, hold on. This is a guy
Mr.
who's
Defense.
Charlotte not trying to
Wow,
win
who
games, but
this
listen,
is a
cares?
guy. This
but
is
listen,
a guy who
but
put
Mr.
listen,
all the
bro.
hopes
Defense.
But listen,
in
bro.
in
But
Rudy
listen, bro.
Gobert and Ben Wallace, and you talking about who
But
cares?
listen, bro.
And
But
Dennis
listen,
Rodman.
but listen, bro. We talking about teams in
I'm
different
with him on this.
situations. We are in Charlotte. I just want to be fun, sell jerseys, and hopefully make the playoffs. We can worry about going to the next step when we need to go to the next step. Right now, we just have a very fun team, and you just want to be relevant again. Charlotte ain't been relevant.
They're
Really, I
gonna be
want to say,
relevant.
huh?
They're gonna be relevant since
Yeah, but
Grandmama and
yeah, but
Muggsy Bogues in them. That's when.
exactly. That's probably the last time they were quote unquote for real,
But they're gonna be
literally
relevant
relevant.
with
I'm
Leangelo
straight. I'm
Ball.
straight. I would rather just keep what I'm building. Those guys seem to all like each other, hang out with each other, have fun with each other. I don't want to start making trades and bringing in a new guy when I seem to have a young nucleus of players that all like each other. And also that team, like I said, is cracking. You got PJ Washington with his whole scandal. LaMelo is LaMelo. Miles Bridges be rapping. Terry Rozier be rapping with him. Kelly Oubre is a fashion icon. That team is cracking, bro. Like it's a fun young team. If I'm 16, it's my favorite team.
You might be moving to Charlotte. Sound like you don't looked at some houses in Charlotte. That's what that sound like right there.
Cheap property. But nah, for Ben Simmons, honestly, they say he wants to go to his own team. So I would probably say, honestly, the best bet for him is probably like Cleveland or Sacramento or something like that. Other than that, I don't really know where else he can go and have his quote unquote own team. So yeah.
Sacramento, and they can get old boy the shooter. What's it?
Buddy.
I can't think of his
Buddy Hield.
Yeah, because he wanted to get out of there. They told him they was going to trade him
to the Lakers, and then they didn't trade him.
Yeah, so he got to be hot over there now. That team got to be getting hot. So if they get Buddy Hield back, and maybe a pick or two, because it's just addition by subtraction. That's all. I mean, you're not going to get your worth out of Simmons. You're not going to get another All-Pro, All-Defensive player.
I agree.
Did you see the Intuit Dome? You see the video?
Yeah, I saw the little layout for it. It looks cool.
Yeah, that look real cool, man. That look real cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
All right, man. Thanks for chiming in. I'm gonna let you go, man. Go do your thing, man. Don't hurt nobody up there.
All right, guys.
Good looking, bro. Good looking, Pa.
All right, be good, Pat. All right, man. Let's take a little break, Cleveland. We're gonna bounce back. We're gonna bounce right back to the NFL here. So we're gonna take 90 seconds, man, and come back and get to the Richard Sherman going to the Buccaneers. We got the Josh Gordon signing with the Chiefs. And what happened in Seattle, man, over the weekend? What you want? Is that a topic that you want to talk about? The Seattle Seahawks?
We can talk about the Hawks, yeah.
You want to talk about the Hawks?
You want to talk about the Hawks?
Well, let's take a little break here. We're gonna come back and talk about the Hawks. I'm surprised you want to talk about on fans.
Quick break. 90? Okay,
yeah.
Get 90 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what's good? What's good, Cleveland? Um, Richard Sherman to the Bucks. Is that gonna help him out?
Yes, that will help them out. Quite possibly get them to the Super Bowl.
Get to the Super Bowl. That's a big ask, isn't it?
No, they went to the Super Bowl last year and then brought back all the starters. So yeah, this will be an addition.
I mean, how you go from how's he gonna do it? You think him alone is gonna get him to the Super Bowl?
No, I think it's a nice integral part to fit into the puzzle, and I think that he brings maturity, experience, and an understanding of how to play in one of the greatest defensive secondaries in the history of football. So certainly can help. He can help Tampa Bay with that.
Okay. Well, what do you think about Josh Gordon going to the Chiefs? You think that's going to get them to the Super Bowl now too?
No, I think that it was kind of one of those things where the Chiefs didn't have anything to lose. They already have a really explosive offense, and if Josh Gordon can, make some additions to that, kind of what they wanted Sammy Watkins to be, which he never really actually was, then that would be great. However, I do think that Josh Gordon will be suspended again by week 9 or 10.
Well, hold on. They're not testing for it. They haven't announced it, but they're not testing. You don't hear players getting popped for marijuana anymore. So you think he's going to get popped for marijuana or what?
I think he will get suspended again within the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. All right, man. I'm going to have to eat some crow, man. I thought Jalen Hurts was going to be he has all the right tools. It just doesn't quite put it together, and I'm not sure that the coach helped him out a whole lot on Monday Night Football because why have the kid throw 40 times against the Cowboys and not and they only ran the ball 3 times? He didn't look so good when he had to air it out. I don't think he's not that type of passer, and I expected more from Jalen Hurts. So, what's your thoughts on Jalen Hurts, and is it coaching or what they're doing down there in over there in Philadelphia?
Well, you know how I feel about it, Cam. To be perfectly honest with you, I think they just put a little bit too much pressure on those Alabama quarterbacks coming out because they come out from such prolific offenses and what they were able to do. They expect them to replicate that in the NFL. Did he go to Oklahoma? Because right now we're looking at Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa. I saw a picture of it. It was really cute. It was Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jalen Hurts, all kind of like, quarterback all at the same time, hugging and stuff. It was really cool. And then they were all starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and that was really, really cool. But their record just doesn't reflect them having the ability to make the jump to the next level.
Okay, I mean, you try to take it to a deeper level, and I was speaking specifically on him in Philadelphia, how because he did after he left Alabama, he went to Oklahoma, and he was a Heisman candidate if he didn't win the Heisman?
Sure. Yeah. 26-2 in his collegiate career.
So then I don't think they're using him properly. He clearly has all the tools.
How do you use him properly, Cam?
You roll him out and you have him run the ball.
You shorten the field, right? And let him just check down to just whoever's open in that 5-yard radius. And every once in a while, you kind of play action and then go deep on him to Devontae. Every once in a while, that's the proper way to work him, right?
Devontae crossing route. He has 2 tight ends. Let him hit the tight ends on the crossing route.
Keep it in that 10-yard. Yeah, I got you.
You don't let him throw the ball 40 times a game. I mean, that's not the recipe for him for winning a game with him. And I'm not sure.
Well, do what you got to do to make him as successful as he can. Put him in the right opportunities to succeed.
But the coaches ain't doing that. And we talk about so as much as I like to talk about coaching, and you think coaching doesn't matter, we have incidents where a coach is actually put back in his right position, and somebody fairly well. When Dan Quinn goes to become his head coach in Atlanta, there's too many pieces, too much stuff flying around.
Went to a Super Bowl, but okay.
Too many things happening, and he just couldn't hold on to the rope. So he goes to Dallas, and they said, "Okay, you just coach the defense." You just coach the defense and do what you just said right there. Put these players in a good position to execute. Build a scheme that um, maximizes these guys' talents. You see, these Cowboys is playing good, man. So Dan Quinn is properly cast as a defensive coordinator, correct?
For now, I mean, certainly, like I said, he was able to get his team to a Super Bowl. They should have actually won that Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they did not. And history is cruel to the losers. So, yeah, take a few steps back. Take a deep breath, regather yourself, do what you do really, really well. Keep it in a very confined environment as to what your responsibilities are. Make the most of that and see if you can take the next jump. See if you learn from your experiences previously. See if that step back and just handling this section, kind of gives you that kind of proper perspective for going forward for being a head coach next year. We'll see.
I don't think head coach next year. I think that might be a little too soon. But I think he's doing a good job. The Packers come back on the 49ers. Now I know you enjoyed it from an NFC West point of view, but they kind of overplayed their hand. The Packers did, and let the Niners did, and let Green Bay come back in that game. How did you see that?
I just thought it was Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers, doing what he does. And, he is the MVP of the league for a reason. So, I mean, when he does miraculous things, let's not be too overly surprised about it.
Yeah, so you just chalk it up as Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers, huh?
Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers.
Do you guys see the Packers this year? Because we know there's a rivalry up there.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Does he come to Seattle? Do they travel to Seattle?
We go to Green Bay.
Ooh, you go to Green Bay. Ooh. So we'll see how things transpire there for you guys. Jason Tucker sets an NFL record, 68-yarder that bounces on the crossbar and then falls into place. It hit the crossbar. Usually balls hit the crossbar and just fall right down. This one hit the crossbar and then hit the net. It looked like it gained an extra energy when he bounced off the crossbar and went 10 yards to hit the net. Was that just hard luck Lions, or was that a season-changing event for the Ravens?
Season-changing event for the Ravens. Actually, JT missed one that game, and had to atone for it. He hit the 43-yarder to atone for it. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Not a lot of teams. No other team is like, man, just get it into 60. Just get it to 60 again.
Just get it to the 55. Just get it to our 45, and then we got a shot. We got a shot. Yeah, man, that was crazy.
We got a shot. 4th and 19 from the whatever, man. Come on, man. JT is no joke, man. He's not been no joke since that game when he kicked the 6 field goals in Detroit and said, "I'm your guy. If you got me on your fantasy, I'm your guy. I'm not going to let you down ever."
Man, that's true. That's true.
Kickers do not make that type of impact very often, dude. You can run somebody out there and say, "We got a chance to win from 100." What? That's like 200 feet away, man.
Man, yeah, that's Jason.
My
Tucker,
God,
he's been that.
It's been that.
Cash App, voice of the fans on Cash App. Go ahead and send that over to me, man. Herbert and the boys. Staley got these guys playing. They're 2-0 on the road. Derwin James doing his thing. Joey Bosa, whether it's a hurt ankle, hurt toe, he's doing his thing. There's a revival of sorts out here in Costa Mesa, California, that these Chargers are playing great football. They have a great leader. The energy that Staley brings to this team has these guys playing with extreme confidence. He showed he's aggressive. On the last drive, he goes for it 4 times on 4th down. to ultimately score a touchdown. He's like, no, we're not kicking field goals against these guys. This is the Kansas City Chiefs. We know who it is over there. Although they create now to Kansas City point, they did turn the ball over 4 times, and then they did lose a game, but it wasn't by a lot. It was by a touchdown. But the Chargers, they created the turnovers. They got the turnovers. But then in the fourth quarter, to win the game, they went for it 4 times on 4th down. That's impressive. That's a coach saying, no, we're going for it here. Mike Williams is playing out of his ass. This is the guy who you expected to be in the NFL 4 years ago, right? Now he's showing up. He's showing up and playing big ball right now. So you want to go ahead and send that over, or you got some? You want to wait, for more weeks?
Cam, I'm gonna wait for the formalities, but I mean, kudos to you, man. I'm okay with giving you that bill. I have so much other, replenishment coming back my way. Looking at this ticker at the bottom, I mean, the bill is not really going to be that significant. When you start seeing the Daniels and the ribs and the Ivers and the trophies and the whatnot, all of the bounty that I will be getting on the back end. Yeah, man, I'm more than willing to give you that bill, man. Good looking up, man. Good looking up. I actually have the Herbert. Fans, I don't really like to do this, but in my other fantasy football league, I do have the Herbert Keenan double dip, and it looks delicious right now. They can do some things. I mean, it's just
wait.
And the AFC West is pretty much up for grabs right now, considering. So like I say, I'm willing to give you the bill. I'm willing to give you the bill.
Did I hear you just say? Did I just hear you say you got the Herbert Keenan double dip? Is that what I heard?
I did.
Is that what I heard you say?
I did say that. In my other league, not the Voice of the Fans league, because that's really all that's important between me and him. But in my other league, I do have the Keenan Herbert double dip. It just happened. That's just happened. The draft just fell to me that way.
All that shit you talking, all that shit you talking about Keenan, you wouldn't drafted him.
This is how the draft fell to me, Cam. I mean, it was as it was circumstances as it was, and they've just been, paying dividends. That's all I'm saying.
Come on. All right. Have you? I told you a couple weeks ago that Brian Flores, man, I try to call him. My calls are going right to voicemail. They're not even being returned.
That's because he listens to the show.
He's not gonna like what I have to say. He's losing the team. I'll just put it like that. He's losing the team.
Oh, it's him losing the team. The team isn't just losing. He's losing the team.
Well, we talked about earlier where we expect the coach to put the guys in a position to win, right?
Like they did week 1 when they beat the Patriots. Week 2, broken ribs.
That was a great when they beat the Patriots. That was a great player.
Week 3, they went to OT against a team that's undefeated. I don't understand.
Oh, listen to you. You don't understand. No. You're up 14-0. They punt the ball and they pin you down inside the 1. You run a screen pass? You run a screen pass? What the hell? TPJ.
What's up, Cam? How you doing today, man?
Mr. Producer Extraordinaire. How you doing, big dog?
I'm doing good, man. Living life, enjoying it. Glad to be on.
Pops? You okay, Pops?
Yeah,
I wanted to get on you. Pop. TPJ, you see Cleveland up there?
What's happening, man?
You, man. What's up, Cleveland? How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Dying laughing, arguing with this man, Cam. I don't see how you do it either.
for a decade, right?
Well, I guess that's how you do it. Yeah, I've just been doing it so long. It is what it is.
Hey, I saw your Instagram post, and I want to bust your chops on this one.
Which one?
Girl dad on Saturday. You work hard Monday through Friday, and girl dad
I
on
do.
Saturday.
I do.
I'm like, oh wait, you're not a pops Monday through Friday? Or
No,
don't
I
you
am
come home
pops
to
Monday through Friday. I'm working hard Monday through Friday though. On Saturday, the whole day I'm with her basically. So that's what I meant.
Okay, man.
What you
Okay,
mean? She
man.
lived with me. You goddamn it.
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying.
She lived
Well,
with
I
me.
was like,
Goddamn
well,
it.
she don't get
Don't
no
try to
attention.
make it seem like I'm a deadbeat daddy Monday through Friday. I'm just saying
I'm like,
Saturday is specifically dedicated to my
it's
little ones, just like
dedicated to her.
Sunday is dedicated to football.
Okay.
Amen.
Now, now I talked to Pavi earlier, man, and I've got on. I want a piece of your ass too, man. You guys are supposed to join my fantasy football league. We're not playing fantasy football this year. We're cool.
I wasn't
cool.
honestly. I'm only doing it for my job because we have this fantasy league with Baron Davis, and we work with Baron Davis's company to produce shows, including a fantasy basketball and football podcast. So that is actually the only reason why I am currently partaking in fantasy. Although I am 3-0, and Baron got fleeced in this trade that we made at the beginning of the season, so it's about to be a long run for the rest of the league. I'm not predicted to lose until week 7.
Oh, wow, you're predicting it. You're predicting a loss. So go ahead and shout out. Let the people know where they can find you. Let the people know where you do all your work, Mr. Producer Extraordinaire.
Yes, sir. You can find me on hmbmedia.com, or you can find me on Instagram at RealTPJ. That's ReelTPJ.
And hey, homie, you must have drafted Aaron Jones really high in your league the way Cam did.
Actually, no. I wound up drafting Lamar, Hilaire Edwards, I believe is how you say his name, and I got Nick Chubb and Cooper Kupp.
So chubby guy and Cooper Kupp
alone have been going crazy for me, and Cooper Kupp has been putting up like 33 points a week. It's been insane what him and Matt Stafford's done. Literally, they're the new Brady Amendola.
Yeah. Brady Amendola.
Yeah,
no,
that might be like a Brady Wes Welker.
They might not win a ring, but in terms of combination, that's his guy. He's found his guy because he didn't. I mean, I think he might even be Matt Stafford's guy more than Calvin was in Detroit, because Calvin is just Calvin, so you have to throw him the ball. Cooper is a guy that's just like no matter what, always open, find the seams, lanes. He's gonna be open when Matt Stafford needs him. I think it's like a perfect, match made in heaven for them and for my fantasy team.
Okay. Well, so I called you on the show.
Yes, sir.
I called you guys on the show a couple things. I wanted you and Pavi on the show so we can talk about this top 75 list, and we're gonna do that. But I was listening to the happy hour the other day, and I heard you say, Kawhi. What shot was it? You there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I just stopped my camera. Okay, I'm sorry.
I heard you talking about the best shot in hoops history.
Yeah.
Who would you have the best shot in hoops history?
I didn't know. I didn't rank them though. I just said these are the 5 that are in that list, and I had Kyrie, Michael, both. Well, it depends on which Michael Jordan shot you want to take, but you talk
about the push off or the double pump. Which one are you talking about?
Which one? You could honestly, you got 3 of them really. You could take a shot he made at Carolina. You could take the shot that he made for the Bulls. You could take the one he made on Elo. But basically, I believe I said Kyrie, Jordan. I had Kawhi shot and 2 other ones. Sorry, it's an airplane flying over my head right now.
So I didn't hear you say in any of those, and I think I'll tell you right.
No, I did. I definitely mentioned those shots.
No, excuse me. I have a couple that's listed here that I didn't hear you mention, but I didn't think. I thought the Jordan shot in college was overrated. I didn't think that was. I thought that was overrated. It was only rated high because of who Michael Jordan became. It was a great shot in college basketball, obviously, because it was for a championship. But it wasn't. It wasn't the Leitner shot. It wasn't the shot over NC State when the guy was shooting a long 3, he missed it. Oh boy, grabs it and puts it in for the win. It wasn't that shot. I had a couple shots that I thought was bigger than that shot. It was just because of who Michael Jordan became, that shot got a lot of ratings.
Yeah, I believe I said Leitner, Kyrie shot. I said Kawhi shot. Pick a Michael Jordan shot, and then what was the other one that I had selected? And I think we either said I think I either said like Magic when he stole the ball from Bird. I mean, it wasn't like an incredible shot, but like all of it with the shot. I forgot which ones, but it's a lot. But Kawhi is definitely up there. He's definitely in that top 5. That shot he hit
but
as
you left Ray Allen's shot.
Oh, you know what? That's the one that I probably forgot about was Ray Allen's shot in Miami.
Yeah, that was a killer shot over there. And then, do you recall Rex Chapman's shot over the Sonics? And the Suns beat the Sonics.
Yeah, I was a little too young for that one.
No, you was watching hoop.
I mean, I was watching the game, but in terms of the magnitude of it, too young to like really grasp what it meant.
They threw it across on the other side of the court as he was running out of behind the 3-point line. He just caught it and shot it in one motion.
And as we're talking about this, Cam, nobody mentions Derek Fisher's shot against the Spurs.
Yeah, we said that we were arguing about that, and now I get it, but not personally, and maybe it's because his lure isn't that high. Where I don't really regard the shot.
That was amazing. That was half of a second and just that
was in the playoffs. I mean, it probably shouldn't have counted. TP. That's why it doesn't. That's why nobody talking about it because it probably shouldn't have counted.
Wow.
I mean,
and now listen to the Clipper fan. Listen to the Clipper fan talking about the OG.
That probably shouldn't have counted. That's why nobody talks about that. But Robert Horry shot.
Oh yeah, forgot Big Shot Bob on the Kings.
Big Shot Bob, yeah. I mean that was a big shot there.
Big Shot Bob on the King. Big Shot Bob on the Pistons as well. He did it twice.
Yeah. Magic's base. So I just wanted to pull that up and get you to talk about that.
Yeah, no, that was that's a great list now because actually when we were even talking about it, I don't even believe we got to some of those shots. So I'm glad that you brought up more shots because I actually forgot about them. It's just I forgot what we were talking about. We're talking about something random, and then
is the Ralph Sampson too old?
Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna lie. For me personally,
yeah, the Ralph Sampson did. I mean, that sent the Lakers home, didn't it? That was in the Western Conference champions. That's right. That sent just. Pull it up, Pat. I mean, pull it up, TP. You'll see that with seconds on the clock, they pass it in to Ralph Sampson and the Houston Rockets. That's when the Twin Towers sent the Lakers home. That was 85. The 85 Lakers that sent them home. I think it was the 85
that's
Lakers.
The
80. It was 83, 84, 83. Maybe it was the 84 Lakers because the Celtics ended up winning that one. The Celtics ended up beating them. Mike in a gentleman's sweep.
They did.
But here's the real reason, man. We called you on the show because I know you guys are big on lists. So we named our top 75 NBA. This is the NBA anniversary, obviously, 75 years. And we named our top 75. So we took the top 50 and we replaced them with some of the premier players in the game, just really from these guys this decade actually. Dwayne Wade, Steve Nash, Kevin Durant, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Dirk Nowitzki, LeBron, KG, Steph Curry, Kobe Bryant. We added those guys to the 50 list. And then from there, we took our top 50 and added these names to our list. And then Pavi gave us a couple names that maybe we'll change them out, and I'll mention those to you. But I want you to tell me who maybe should be added to this list that we didn't include. You ready? I lost you. Can't hear you, babe. Your mic is muted.
Airplane. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So these guys
I live near Burbank Airport, so until 10 o'clock every night, there's airplanes flying over my head every couple minutes. So I apologize. I muted it because I didn't want it to interrupt your great intro. Okay. But I saw the list that you had, and I actually agree with most of the spots that you guys and most of the people that you put on this list, to be honest. The only real problem I had with you guys' list was Draymond Green being on that list. He's not a top 75 basketball player of all time. I'm sorry, he's not. He's not. Top if 75. Draymond Green is, then so is Ben Simmons. And Draymond Green and Ben Simmons is not. I'm sorry.
I'm okay with that.
You're gonna argue championships, and I'm gonna tell you that as the third or fourth option on that team, I'm not giving him that credit for those rings. Ben is already Ben is already, I believe, 4-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 3-time All-NBA defense. By those same metrics, you might as well put him on there. Like, no, I'm sorry. Draymond is not a top 75 basketball player of all time. He's not probably a top 100 basketball player of all time. Top 75 since 2000, I'll give you that. But all time, no.
You coming hard.
All time, no. But I've been saying this about Draymond. People think I hate on Draymond. I don't hate on Draymond. I just put him where he should be ranked. And I just think people overvalue a lot of what he does because of the team that he's on. When the funniest part is, right, we're never going to really get to see his true value because by the time it's over for him, he's going to retire and then it'll be like his last year or so on the Warriors. His value is predicated on Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. That's where it lies to me. And last year, I think you saw it more than anything when with Steph Curry. When Steph Curry's value was high, Draymond's value was high. When Steph Curry went on that floor, you wasn't hearing nothing about Draymond Green. You weren't talking about Draymond Green. He wasn't saving on winning them basketball games when Steph Curry was ailing over the past few years. I get it. He deserves to be in the pantheon because he won a Defensive Player of the Year. But he's not even better than Rudy Gobert. Like Rudy Gobert belongs on this list before he does. Rudy's what, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive Player of the Year, yeah.
Very, very serious. He's 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Like to me, he belongs on this list much more than Draymond does. If you want to go player to player, if we talking about greatness and accolades and championships and counting, yeah, I guess. But like Rudy's nothing to poo-poo at, and I don't like Rudy Gobert. And I actually like Draymond as a basketball player. I just think people heavily overrate his contribution to the game because he happens to have played with 3 of arguably the top 75 players of all time. Was Klay on your list? Like you probably was Klay on your list?
We got Klay on the list.
Klay didn't make the list.
If Klay's on your list, I don't really have any arguments. It's just, was Rudy on your list?
Rudy barely made the cut.
I'm looking. Let's see.
Rudy got taken off though. Rudy got taken off. Rudy got replaced with whatever you want to say, Bob McAdoo or Chris Mullin, replaced Rudy Gobert. But he was on there. Rudy was a fringe player. I'm not going to diminish
what Bob McAdoo did and what Chris Mullin did for the game of basketball. But if you asking me my honest opinion, I would probably take Rudy Gobert if I'm building a team or if I need a player on a team all time over those 2 gentlemen, because he's going to anchor so much that I don't necessarily need that much in the front court versus those other 2 options. You still going to need a bunch of more pieces around them in order for them to be successful. With Rudy, he's going to command the paint, going to give you 12 to 11 points a game or 15 points a game and 11 to 12 rebounds on like 8 shots a game, 9 shots a game. That's amazing. I'm sorry. Like it is. Shoot 64% from the field. Not a bad free throw shooter. Going to give you 2 or 3 blocks a game. Chris Mullin and Bob McAdoo, no offense, but I had to roll with the 3-time DPOY.
So Pavi sold you on that one. What's your thoughts on Manu Ginobili?
I like Ginobili. I believe Ginobili actually does belong on this list. I see that in terms of you all took off Dave Bing, Dave Cowens, Billy Cunningham, Bob Pettit, Dolph Shays, Bill Sharman, and Nate Thurman off the list. Yeah. I'm not upset at most of what I saw from what you guys put on your list. Manu is a guy that I think is definitely top 75, even if you just want to talk about what he means to the world of basketball in terms of the actual world, and kind of how he's helped to be an ambassador for the game while also still playing at an extremely high level, being a key contributor. Because this is the thing I think that a lot of the time gets lost with Manu is Manu at any point in time on that Suns team could have been the number 1 option that night. And the difference between a guy like him and Draymond, where Draymond is coming off the bench, where people would be like, well, why would Manu be more effective than Draymond? Manu can take over a game completely from start to finish with his offense, with his passing ability, with his ability to be able to run up the court and create chaos and play within that system. Draymond only creates chaos on one side of the ball, and that's when he's actively engaged. Give me Manu over a lot of guys, honestly. Give me Manu over Ray Allen, to be honest. And I respect Ray Allen. Ray Allen was one of my favorite players when I was growing up. But personally, Yeah, Ray Allen. I love Ray Allen. Ray Allen on the Sonics was one of my favorite players of all time. Favorite video game player too, because I could shoot threes with him and Rashard Lewis. We could run up and down the court, and he could dunk. He could score. I love Ray Allen, but I love
on
Ray
the
Allen.
Bucks too.
Ray as the guy was never really the guy. He was never the guy as the guy.
But he was the guy on some bad teams, though. He was the guy on some bad teams. He was the guy on some bad teams. So
but this is the thing. It's like you telling me
Anthony Edwards was the guy
last year. I'm like, all right, cool. They won 25 games. Great. Congratulations.
I mean, Ray got him to the playoffs. He got the Bucks to the playoffs. He got the Sonics to the playoffs, but I mean, they weren't really good teams. They weren't really
but
good
honestly,
teams.
I don't believe T-Mac was that guy either. Give me Ginobili over T-Mac. T-Mac is extremely overrated to me. Missed the first round. And
I like that one. I like that one much more.
Disrespect to him or to diminish his accomplishments. He's just, to me, he was never that guy. Even when me and Patty have these arguments, like back in the early 2000s, I thought T-Mac was better than Kobe. I never did personally. Even as a young kid, it was Kobe, and then T-Mac was on a whole different level below Kobe. And to me, I would put Ginobili in between that level of T-Mac and Kobe. If you want to actually talk about greatness and affecting winning and affecting the game, T-Mac didn't affect winning. He affected losing, to be honest, and they lost a lot. And they lost a lot when they were front runners as well, which is also the biggest thing that I can't respect about T-Mac. Because it's one thing to be an underdog all the time and lose. It's another thing to be up in series and lose them. And he's done that multiple times and only got out of the first round on guess whose team? Manu Ginobili's.
Very true.
There you go. So I'm gonna give you a couple names, and I'm looking at these guys are going to fall in the kind of toward the bottom of the list. Dennis Johnson, Dennis Johnson and Chris Paul stay on the list. Dennis Johnson and Chris Paul.
You said one or the other?
Yeah.
I'm going Dennis Johnson. I've never been a Chris Paul fan. I've never been a Chris Paul fan. I've never thought he was that amazing. I've never thought he has affected winning.
Man, you can come on this show anytime you want to play, boy.
Chris Paul is T-Mac of point guards. T-Mac of point guards. I'm serious.
T-Mac of point guards.
The only difference is T-Mac never had a scapegoat. Chris Paul always has a scapegoat. When they lost this finals, for once, finally, he got the proper blame that he was supposed to be levied for showing up and stinking like he habitually does in the playoffs. Stinking and getting sent home. He better be glad that Paul George in that game 6 that we was in Los Angeles decided to stink it up more in the first half. Or we damn near might have been talking about the Clippers beating and coming back on the Suns to make the finals. But it just so happened Paul George stunk it up in game 6. Do you remember that game? When I was sitting next to you, and I said, what is Paul George doing? And you say he's playing well. And he's got 11 points in the first half and then down by 20. He's not playing fine. They're about to get their ass smoked.
He was trying to go. He was trying to save it.
Cam. They're getting destroyed, Cam. They're getting annihilated right now, Cam. What are you watching? He's just sitting there.
They came back,
missing jump shots and leaving his arm up. Get back, at least on defense.
This guy be wilding at the games too, bro. Okay, Joe Dumars, or Pau Gasol?
Joe. I love Pau Gasol, but I'm from Chicago. We respect the Pistons. That's all I'll say. I'm from Chicago. The Joe Dumars a little bit before my time, but we respect the Pistons. We know about the Pistons. We've seen the games, the replays, all of it. I respect Joe Dumars. Pau was great, amazing Bull. Loved him as a Bull. 2 All-Stars appearances as a Bull, but a lot of Pau's greatness to me is predicated on the fact that Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant did not play on the same team because David Stern did not want to see that trade happen. That should be a feather in Chris Paul's cap, but it's not because you've still been considered the guy and have come up short. But I believe Pau is great. He probably falls more in that line of 75 to 100. I would love to see people's 75 to 100 list because that is the one that's going to be really tight with a bunch of guys that are not necessarily mediocre, but they're not the greatest guys of all time, but there's still a bunch of arguments to be made. I think the top 75 for the most part, if you don't remove anyone, is pretty clear. I think it's just a matter of like leaving names off. But if you take names off, it's very clear. It's that 75 to 100 range where you really got to start to like,
it gets murky.
Because you
It gets
guys didn't have
murky
Dame
at
Lillard
70.
on your list, right?
No, it's a little early.
I see him.
Dame Dollar's on there.
No, he's on a potential list. He's not actually on the full list, is he?
On your
He's
new
not on the new top 25.
not on your top 50, but I believe on your top, he made the top 75, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, he didn't make
He's
top
on there.
25.
Huh?
He's
No,
on
I
there.
didn't say 25, 75. He didn't make the top 75?
No, Dame made the 75.
No, he's not. He's not.
Yeah, so like there are arguments to be had if he belongs on there, especially with what he's with his accolades in particular. So I think a lot of it, once you get to a certain point, just comes down to subjectivity. I think the top 75, it's a lot of old guys that we could take off because let's just be frank about athletics, evolution, all that, etc. But it's really once you get past 75, that's when the real competition starts, because you got a lot of guys from this generation, a lot of bubble guys from the last generation, like the Mullies and those kind of guys, who's duking it out to get up there.
And what contributions you consider the most impactful, and kind of how that career has, transpired? Like you said, we talk about, T-Mac and other players that have, had a lot of potential, a lot of athletic ability, and, showed flashes of brilliance, and, quite honestly, have carried it over for, a few seasons, but their impact is just, you don't feel it the same way as, other players. And, when you're talking about the 75 greatest players to ever pick up a basketball, I mean, sometimes you feel a little bit ashamed to even say some of these names because you just don't think they really have that kind of impact. But at the same time, that 75 to 100, I mean, that debate can go on forever and ever and ever. So, kind of once you get that 75 and you kind of put them in the pantheon, whatever your criteria may happen to be, I am more of an offensive player or offensive person than a defensive person. So, I'm always about buckets. So, my list is going to be skewed in that direction. Whereas, yourself and Pappy's list is a little bit more on the defensive side of the court, which is fine. I just don't see them having as many opportunities to take over a game and be that dude on that side of the court. I mean, setting picks, rebounds, and blocks and shutting down the best player on the other team is certainly an important factor with regards to winning a championship or your team achieving greatness. But ultimately, you're going to have to run and play, and it's going to have to come to that dude. So that's kind of why I gravitate towards that side of the ball. But at the same time, like you're saying, that 75 to 100, very controversial. The 1 to 75, you may have your disagreements here or there. You're kind of splitting hairs to a certain extent, but it's that last quarter that's really, it's really about how you feel about what's important in basketball and how you feel about that player and their impact on the game. So,
yeah, which is crazy because by the time we get to the 100 list, we'll have another 25 years of basketball, and they will have this generation, like the Cade Cunninghams of the world, though, like those guys will be a part of that next class, and then they're going to make it even harder for that next 25 to get in. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
And we'll be kicking players off like Draymond Green and Joe Dumars, and be like, "What?" Yeah.
So Thomas, what you think about the NBA and the league saying that vaccinated players are going to be they won't get paid if they're unable to play in certain states, and the states they're not following the state regular restrictions?
I mean, that's their prerogative. I'm vaccinated, but it's not because I was like rushing to get vaccinated. I actually waited as long as I could to get vaccinated. I damn near waited until they told us we got to show the cards to get into places in order to not be vaccinated. All of this stuff, and this is coming from someone who said that he wants to run for president in the future. All of this stuff is very, very convoluted and murky and no one knows what is going on with what. I actually was talking to this girl at the bar about like 3 weeks ago because she studies public health for something like that. And she was and her friend was an epidemiologist. And I asked the the epidemiologist, I'm like, well, I'm vaccinated, but what's the lowdown? Like, what's really going on? She's like, no, this is really, really bad. Everybody needs to go and they need to get vaccinated. We need to focus some more on, trying to mask people and all this other stuff and stop, trying to make everything so divisive. And I was like, there's a lot of misinformation and things that are floating around that, there's really no, like when I was a kid, I used to buy the Chicago Sun-Times all the time. I would be on my way to school. I would go up to the newsstand. I pay my 35 to 50 cents, get my paper. And while I was riding on the bus to high school, I would sit and I would read the Chicago Sun-Times. And I had faith and trust within that organization that they were reporting the news in an honest manner. Nowadays, all of it is literally either left wing or right wing. And I don't necessarily, it's very hard to discern what is the actual truth and factual information in the moment. And I think that not only did the CDC fail at that, I think the NBA failed because they were so caught up in the hoopla from George Floyd. Cam, why are you showing this?
No, I was trying to block it. You saw it.
You showing it. But no, I just like, but it's just like it's hard for people to get the proper information. And even with people saying that this is like the technology behind this virus, although behind the vaccine, although it's not quote unquote new technology, it's the first time that it's being put to use on a mass scale like this in terms of the the mRNA versus the Johnson & Johnson, which is the old school vaccine, the way that they used to. The mRNA technology is new technology. So rather than people being in the government and the CDC and the epidemiologists focus on educating people and making sure that people felt comfortable, America has turned to shame. And that has backfired in America's face because you can't shame an American into doing anything, especially because they can call this country free all they want to. This motherfucker is not free. We pay a lot of money to live here. When my checks get cut and a third of it go to taxes, that money is paying for my way of life here. So it's not free. So this notion that, it's free, it's like, no, it's not. So they did a terrible job on informing people that feel as though their rights are free and that they live freely and that they don't have to abide by individual government rights versus saying, hey, this is a public health crisis. The main issue that we were having with the last administration was that we were currently dealing with the public health crisis and they did not tackle it in the proper manner. And we're going to focus on education and building trust within the community because distrust was created. And rather than doing that, they just shame everybody and call everybody evil and make it seem like people who are unvaccinated are aiming to go out and murder people and kill people with the air that 36 months ago, if you would have been in a bar with 3,000 people wouldn't look twice about it. Now, even in New York, they're saying that these, medical workers, 70,000 medical workers are going to be fired. And now they're being vilified and turned into villains when 12 months ago, everyone that was a medical worker was a hero. So the marketing is bad with it. So the NBA failed when they focused more on social justice and, without a long plan in terms of what they were going to do, because now you see none of that shit is on the court anymore. It's not on the jerseys or anything. Meanwhile, football, which everybody was angry at first, got it right. We still seeing racism on the end of those sidelines every game. They still running promos, all of it. The NBA was focused on getting a ton of people vaccinated, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is calling players out and calling them stupid and all stuff. It's like, how do you think that we can find a common ground, even if we're in the same fraternity, if the way you speak about me is from a position of dominance where you feel as though you're better than me? So I think that is bullshit, because even as a vaccinated person, I don't give a fuck who's unvaccinated around me personally. Like, I don't. Like, the point of me getting it was to mitigate the risk of me getting sick. Now that my risk is being mitigated, I don't care about the other people who get sick. If you get sick, that is your personal merit. Just like before I chose to get vaccinated and I was walking around unvaccinated and I got sick, it was my personal merit. I think the NBA is doing itself a vast disservice. And I think that in the long run, this is not going to help them to build any more trust, because there's still a whole group of NBA fans out there that are anti-vaxxers, non-vaxxers.
It doesn't do any good to me. So hold on, Thomas. So you're saying the NBA has got it wrong, but when they're allowing or bringing in 18 to 20,000 people into arena, and these players aren't vaccinated. First of all, I think LeBron last year sent a bad message when he said, "I'm not going to talk about getting vaccinated or not."
But why?
And then he
That's his personal choice.
It is his personal
Someone
choice. Yes,
there's
it
an
is.
AIDS vaccine out now, right? If I asked you, are you vaccinated for that? Would you be offended? There's a new AIDS vaccine that's out now, which they want people, obviously, if they can possibly get inoculated for, so that way you don't catch AIDS. If I ask you, do you have the AIDS vaccine? You're gonna be like, what the fuck? Why are you asking me what I'm putting in my body? That's none of your business. And if I choose to answer, then you'll be fine with that. But because it's COVID, you feel like you have the ability to violate my personal rights and tell me
was there 600,000
information.
Thomas, were there 600,000 people that died recently because they weren't vaccinated because of this AIDS virus that's going around?
Cam, do you know how many millions of people have died from AIDS worldwide since the AIDS epidemic has started? Like, come on,
This has been
happening
for
decades upon decades.
Exactly, but we're talking about a virus that's been around for a couple of years now. So what's been around for a couple of decades?
Personal medical privacy, not your personal medical privacy, or is it because you operate on a public platform? You don't have medical privacy.
You're missing the point. I think LeBron was wrong by saying he's not vaccinated, and he sent a bad message. I have to go do my research. Now you got all kind of people talking about going to do some research. Nigga, ain't one of you guys going to a laboratory to look up to look up the chromosomes in these vaccines that we're taking.
Neither are you, though. Respectfully, neither are you.
I'm not claiming that I need to go do some research.
That's my point earlier that I was talking about, Cam.
Go do some research.
Cam, but that was my point earlier. All of the information that you get is third-party information. You are not getting any first-hand information from anyone anymore. So everything you're being told is because somebody else told them that. Even the news, literally, see so many sources like, well, according to sources, all this other stuff. Like, I remember back when I used to read the paper, and they would, and they might not necessarily name all the sources, but when it was something of importance, I got some sources, I got some facts. I don't just get conjecture and people yelling and screaming at each other like we do on these platforms when talking about public health. You can blame LeBron, you can blame whatever. You fucking black. We love to talk about how the government trying to kill us. They don't care about us. Woo, woo, woo. The moment a vaccine comes, it's like, wait a minute, trust the government now. Wait a minute, you just spent the past 8 months telling me that they don't care about us and they want to see us die. We need to reform the police because the government don't care about black people. Now all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, y'all black ass better be in line to take that shot because the government said so. It's like, it's so much hypocrisy to put all the pressure and the blame on LeBron, or to say he set a bad precedence when we had a president when this thing started did not know what was going on and was telling people to go and put bleach on themselves and shine bright lights in their body. That's not at all
what I'm talking about. LeBron, he's not going to the laboratories and looking in the stethoscopes and seeing exactly what's going on. He has doctors that's going to do that for him, correct? We agree. He has the best medical advice that anybody can have. So he has somebody doing that for him. But when he says, I'm not going to do it, or it's none of your business what I'm doing, he sets a precedent with his 12 million people that follow him. At least 8 million of those people are going to follow the same suit. LeBron's not doing it. I'm not doing it.
100 million. It's 100 million that's following.
So at least 8. Let's say.
Want to be fair 70, to LeBron.
So okay, let's be fair to him. 100 million. Let's say 75 million of those people are going to follow his suit and do what he says just because LeBron says it.
Yeah, okay, but by those same metrics, if LeBron told them to all go drink poisonous Kool-Aid and they did it, then you would be calling him a mass murderer. I don't understand why is it that in today's day and age and day and time, a person saying, I don't know the answer, but I'll go and figure it out, is too much for people's brain. But stop. If he says, I haven't done it, I need to evaluate and look at the facts. Mm-hmm. That's what, like, when did that become a terrible answer? Like, we live in a day and age where you literally have to make up your mind about every single thing in the moment that it is being discussed. You don't even have enough time to sit and think like about anything. Why is
by
it
the time LeBron was asked that question? But let's keep it right here. Let's
that's so
keep
unfair
it.
though.
Stay
That's
on focus.
unfair to these
No,
guys.
by
That's
the time.
unfair to these
No,
guys.
listen, Thomas, listen. By the time LeBron was asked his question about being vaccinated or not, he knew that question was coming. He could have been well prepared to say, "I'm not getting vaccinated, and here's why. Here's why I'm not getting vaccinated."
We talking about the guy that read the first 3 pages of every book that we've ever seen him take a picture with.
Again,
that's no offense. He is a business genius, but let's be real. Every time we see LeBron, he got the first 10 pages of them books, whatever book he's reading, sitting there looking, posing with the book in his hand.
And I'm not holding him. I'm saying he set a bad precedent. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying he set a bad precedent.
I disagree with that. I think you have too much faith in LeBron James. And people should stop holding athletes and celebrities in this high of a regard. And if the public officials,
you're not wrong with that
did their jobs properly, LeBron would have been armed with information. But
Thomas, you are not wrong.
Ask you an honest question though: how many times has the public mask mandate in Los Angeles over the past year changed?
It quite frequently.
So, if it's changed frequently, why is it changed?
Well, things change with the information that you get.
Ding, 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 ding. Things change with the information you get. If I'm LeBron and I'm worth $1 billion and 100 million people follow me and they say, LeBron, you getting vaccinated? Let me see what I need to do in order to figure all that out, and then I'll get back to you guys with an answer because it's concerning my public health. Rather than us being like, you know what, LeBron, that's actually a very respectable information. I'm sorry, stance. We all need to do our proper research information and go get vaccinated. Cool. Instead, we're like, fuck you, LeBron. You should have told everybody that they need to go get vaccinated. Like, when did LeBron become the president? When did we start holding LeBron James in higher regard than we hold the medical community, which is flip-flopped on a mask mandate, a nationwide mask mandate for the past year? But you expect LeBron James to come out and make an informed decision?
Would you agree? Would you agree that LeBron? Would you agree that last year? So you're talking about last year, and that makes sense. That point you just made. That point you made sense. But would you agree that last season, when LeBron came out and said, well, he didn't refuse or deny that he got vaccinated. He was like, I'm gonna keep it to myself. That's a family discussion. Would you agree that he had more information than you are, Cleveland, and then half the NBA had? Would you agree that because his doctors?
I would not agree with that. The president of the United States was telling people to inject bleach in their veins, Cam.
The president was lost. Come on,
I don't want to hear that. Cam, do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself?
The president was ridiculous in his standpoint. And you're trying to hold that accountable.
That is my whole point. He's the person we're supposed to get the information from. So you expect LeBron James to have more information than the president? It's so unfair to these dudes. Everybody expects
the president was lost. We all had more.
We are a symbol of everything. They are fucking athletes, bro. We all grow up with athletes. They regular people from your neighborhood, from your community. They just happen to have athletic talent. Most of them aren't even that smart.
Yeah, sure. And put into a position that they now
so how is it that you can hold them and vilify them for this more than
I'm not vilifying them. I said he should have been a president.
You kind of are.
So now
you kind of are vilifying him for that though. You really are. You don't want to admit it, but you really are basically being like, yo, LeBron, you fucked up because you should have told people to go get vaccinated. Who the fuck is LeBron to tell me to go get vaccinated?
He has people following him.
If the president is not telling me the right information, and the president is anti-vax, but the president is in charge of the Centers for Disease Control, the information that flows from that very same organization, you expect of an athlete, a pro athlete, to have more information and be armed with more information and have more integrity than the president of the United States and the Centers for Disease Control, which has changed its own mask mandate and information numerous times over the past 18 months. That is unfair. It's unfair. It's unfair for people to put the weight of the world on these athletes. If they it is unfair. It's unfair for WNBA players to tweet, oh, well, we're 99% vaccinated. Okay, so what? You're not any of those individuals. Andrew Wiggins applied for a religious exemption for his vaccine. They told him no. So him not being paid, like if he was really truly a truly devout, whatever religion he believes in, and he said, I'm not sticking none of that shit in my body, right? What makes the Christian or the Catholic or the other person who's like, well, those aren't my religious beliefs, I'm gonna go ahead and get the shot, better or more entitled to anything than the other guys? The
that
only reason why all of this shit is happening is because of arbitrary state rules. Because
I was kind of surprised
how is Wiggins? How is one person on the basketball team? But one question is, Cam, how is one person on the basketball team like a Wiggins or a Kyrie when they come? You talking about you got 20,000 people in this arena and all this stuff coming in? It's like, oh, 20,000 of those people are inoculated. You've told me, government, that there's a 96% chance of me not getting anything. So I should be worried about Kyrie infecting 20,000 people with COVID. Like, it just is like, all right, I guess. But I just think it's wrong. I was kind of
surprised. I was kind of surprised that they didn't let the religious belief slide for Wiggins. I mean, I was kind of surprised by that.
Because then they would have said, "Oh, well, it's a slippery slope. If we do that, Michael Porter Jr. can say that he's a Mormon." Like, it's like, come on.
I was telling. But at the same time, though, what makes one religion better than the other? But they have to follow the state mandates. So the states kind of helped Adam Silver out by saying the states are going to make their mandates, and then the players are going to have to abide by that.
Publicly stating that you're not going to pay them is a public that they publicly whipping these boys. I don't care what nobody say. They gonna publicly whip these boys right on up in the shape. Period. They are publicly whipping these boys with PR, and they've been doing it damn near since the George Floyd thing, because they was whooping their ass with PR at that point in time when the NBA was trying to force their hand to play. They've been publicly whipping these boys into submission.
It's kind of get payback.
And if I was Kyrie and I was Andrew Wiggins and I really stood on my beliefs, I would say, fuck you, keep that money, cut my other $15 million check, and I will show up when I'm supposed to. Well, because I also find it ridiculous that Wiggins can work out one-on-one with trainers that still that are inoculated, that have the vaccine, that are still going to go and work with the other players on the team. But he's not allowed to be in the arena to play with the same players that are going to work with the same trainers that are going to train with him, even though he's unvaccinated. It like all of it, none of it literally logically actually points to anything that makes sense. Unless it's just this is an all or nothing thing, which if that's what you're telling me is fine. Yeah, but they keep trying to find subjectivity, and it's like, all right, well, what is it then?
No, I think they're trying to make a blanket rule that everybody in the league should be vaccinated, and then we're going to go ahead with that stance, and that's what they're working towards.
And they can't do it. So they're going to do like the NFL and make their lives a living hell until they submit.
Until they do it, yeah. What's your thoughts, Cleveland?
Well, gentlemen, I have a much more conservative approach to this. I think that the problem would have been resolved a lot earlier if it was mandated that you had to have a shot and that it wasn't your choice. I think that we would be much further along in the process with this if that was the case. It doesn't do you any harm. It can only do you good. And the amount of misinformation that Thomas has been referring to is what is kind of, in my impression, in my opinion, is what has led to the prolonging of this epidemic. And anyone, excuse me, I shouldn't say that anyone that doesn't want to have the shot is doing themselves a disservice. I just think that they're misinformed, or that the information that they're getting, they're not interpreting it correctly, and that there is no downside or consequence to getting this shot, only upside and opportunity. And I think that for people that are in a much public environment, it's even that much more important that they get it.
Yeah, I think back to what I was saying, I think don't necessarily want to. I understand your whole point is why are they holding these athletes up to a higher standard than the public figures? I totally get that point, Thomas. However, I think because these athletes have such a prominent position in America, a lot of people do look up at him, right or wrong. A lot of people do look at him, or look up to him, and they command a lot of weight. Their voice carries a louder sound than a lot of people. I think it behooves them. What they say with great authority comes great responsibility. I think they have a
great
responsibility.
Power comes great responsibility. Uncle
with
Ben
great power.
from Spider-Man said that.
And it's true, and it's true, and I think that's the authority or responsibility LeBron and other athletes have, not just LeBron. And so this week when he says I'm vaccinated, the whole team is working towards getting vaccinated, it sends a much better message. Is he responsible for sending a better message?
But what was his message after that?
Well,
his message after that was, it's not my place to tell other adults what to do with their body and what what their vaccination status should be. Now that's the same as saying, but listen, that's the same. That's the proper answer. That's the proper answer. It's the same answer. I don't know. Let me go figure it out.
No. He followed that up by saying, I got vaccinated, and here's why I did it, because it's for me and my family. I thought it was the best decision for me and my family, and then continued on to say what you said. That I thought that was a more impressive answer than it's a personal decision. And last year, it's a personal decision, and there's no reason to talk about why.
I think voting and vaccination statuses are two things that if I would have told my 10-year-old self that people just openly share and disclose amongst each other nowadays, he would have been like, really? That's not how the world has been working when I'm growing up. Because who you voted for and what you put in your body used to just be your fucking business. It used to.
It is.
It used to just be your business. Now
it still is. But with the crisis,
the social currency card, and if you don't swipe at the right thing, your shit going bankrupt, and it's unfortunate. But like I said,
but Thomas, things have changed with this worldwide pandemic. That's the thing that we're missing here, because there's a pandemic.
But we also trying to speed up something that usually takes 5 to 10 years historically to be eradicated.
So you understand?
We're trying to do it in 2 years.
But the reason that we're able to do that is because technology has advanced to a point that we're able to do that. That has been kind of the knock, and that was kind of some of the language that was going back and forth before that. But because we have had so much experience, and because this is not a new thing, and because they had an opportunity to kind of interject some of the technology and advances that they've been able to make into this whole thing, makes it even more of a reason to just go and get a shot. Nobody back in the days when they said, hey, man, polio or yellow fever or the bubonic plague, man, like, no, man, I don't want that in my body. It's like, no, I don't want to die. It's like, no, I don't want everything to spread across the entire globe.
A lot, like, that's actually not. But also, this other thing,
there may have been some skepticism about these things back in the day.
It would have been a civil war in this country.
The point being made is that there is no consequence to getting the shot. There's no consequence.
I disagree with that.
There's a consequence to it. What is the consequence to it?
There is no consequence that we currently know of. Because I see commercials every single day.
So you're speaking on a potential consequence that has not been determined.
Yeah, we say that, right? But for example, right, I have acid reflux, and I've had heartburn pretty much since I was a child. They used to give me Zantac 75 and Prilosec OTC for my acid reflux. Those were maintenance medicines that were being used by myself and other people who suffer from that disease since 1985. Every time I turn on my television set now, I see a commercial about a Zantac 75 recall and suing for a class action lawsuit because it's causing cancers in so many different parts of people's bodies. We don't know what the future is going to hold. Honestly, for me personally with the vaccine, it was like, all right, I care more about living tomorrow or living today and trying to make it to tomorrow than I care about 30 years. That's my personal philosophy, because who the fuck knows what the hell is going to happen in 30 years with my body as it relates to this. We don't really know with half of the medicines that are still being pushed on the counter right now, because we see it every day when these things get recalled, even though America is one of only 2 countries in the world that allows for pharmaceutical companies to advertise on television, which is one crazy thing within itself. So I understand. All I'm saying is I understand both sides, and I am vaccinated. And I want people to go out and do what's best for them, do what's best for the people. Which, if that's get vaccinated, get inoculated, go ahead, do what you feel. But I personally am just not in the business of like pointing this finger and calling everybody angry when like the information still, I don't care what anyone says, is still not 100% crystal clear. There's still not one specific set of rules and regulations that people abide by. When I travel, went to Atlanta. Half the people wearing masks. I got a buddy who works for NBA TV, and he travels around all the time. He's like, dude, I was doing some stuff for University of Kentucky, all these other universities that I'm working with now, doing content. You go to a lot of these places in Middle America, nobody's wearing masks, nobody's doing anything, nobody has anything. But here in LA, it's like I can't go anywhere without a vaccination card. So it's just we're a bunch of states. We're a congregation of states trying to figure it out. And I think that everybody, but hold on one second. I'm finished on that. I just think that, like, if it's going to be 50 different rules in 50 different states, then we need to just stop trying to shame people for not abiding by one rule in one particular place and figure out what are the general rules that need to not be violated and focus on those. Because I think this is the same tactic that I feel like the WNBA uses, where they try to shame people into being fans or doing what the players or the media or the people within the organization want them to do. I argue with my friend who works in the WNBA all the time. Like, you all need to stop doing that. It's not going to make me I'm a WNBA fan. But even before I started watching WNBA, when people be like, you'll watch women's basketball, you're a children human being. It's like, wait a minute. Maybe I'm just not invested in that product because I watch women's tennis all the time. So rather than shaming me and be like, well, you should do this, how about you just give me some factual information or some shit that will actually intrigue me and make me want to go out and do it, versus nowadays it's literally either vilification or you fall in line. And I'm fine if that's the way that things are going to be. But when all this George Floyd shit was happening, everybody was pro-black and the government against us, it's like it's just so much of a constant flip-flopping on all of this stuff where it's hard. And that's why I don't blame these guys, because it's very hard. It's hard for me to understand. And I feel like I'm smarter than probably half of those dudes. And it's really hard for me to understand. I want to run for president. I got a book full of ideas on running for president, all the way down from education to economy, all the stuff of plans that I got for the future, right? I still be looking at stuff like, what is the proper information? I think we just need to focus on that. And I literally told the girl that I was talking to at the bar that works at epidemiology, I said, if you ever become in charge like a Fauci, because she's like, that was basically her dream goal. It's like, focus on informing people and comforting people versus trying to rush and create the ideology. The ideology that if you don't do this thing, you're evil, versus focusing on if you don't do this thing, you can harm your neighbor. That is a much, much more valuable way of selling me that than the way it's being sold now, and the way that they're running these guys up on stage like cattle and vilifying them if they don't say what you want them to say personally. And I know I might be in the minority in that, but that's just the way I feel.
There you guys have it. TPJ, what, president for 2030? What was it, 2032?
TPJ2032.com. You can go check it out. You can see some of my plans.
TPJ2032.com.
You go on there, TPJ2032.com. You can see my plans. We 12 years out, but we 12 years out because we want to do proper planning. And also, this country is about to be as weakest that it's ever been, probably. No bullshit since its inception. So all I will say is whether I'm gonna be the president in 2032 or somebody else is, we're headed for a long road. And all this COVID stuff, Trump stuff, everything, it's literally just the beginning. It's just the beginning of all of it. Our country is going broke. Like, it's just the beginning of all of it. It really is.
Well, producer extraordinaire, let them know about some of these projects you got out now. Let the people where the people
can find. You can find me as always on hmbmedia.com. It's basically leads back to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/hmbmedia. We produce sports content. Also, please go check out the Point Guard podcast hosted by Baron Davis. We co-produce this podcast with Baron Davis's company Slick Sports. Basically, Baron talks to the greatest point guards to ever play the game of basketball. So far, we've had greats like Gary Payton, Sam Cassell, Rod Strickland. If you name them, pretty much we're working on them, trying to get Magic and Steph hopefully before the end of the year. So just tune in, tap in, hear some great point guard knowledge, and really learn about like the game. I think even for me as someone who's been covering the game for about 5 years now, I think the personal nuances in a lot of the stories are, that we don't necessarily report on in media. A lot of these guys still hold with them. And I think the podcast format is a great format for them to be able to express those things. So please go check it out if you can. As always, I appreciate you, Cam and Cleavon. Also, both of your perspectives. I know you guys are older than me, so it's not that I'm saying like, yo, shut up, you're wrong. It's just that I just truly believe that we just have to start to look at things a little bit differently in terms of how we relate to this thing. Otherwise, it'll just be another dividing factor when it should be something that, like, if anything, everybody dying should have pulled us together, and all it's done is further drive a wedge in us, which I think is interesting. So we need people like you all to continue to further the conversation, provide some perspective, levied and weighted perspective. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Appreciate your perspective as well, bro.
Yeah, nobody has all the right answers, man. That's why I asked you, and that's why we let you talk, man, because we want to get your feedback. So thank you for chiming in. TP, we appreciate you, big guy. Enjoy the night. Go kiss a little baby for us.
No problem. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Love the show. I actually cut you guys on when I'm working during the day. I mean, obviously we produce it, so I have to come in contact with the content, but your guys' show, I actually will turn it on every time it comes on. Listen to you guys go back and forth for a few hours. Actually, I got a clip on my phone of Cleavon on my saved on my phone, where it's literally just like a little square video. It's him saying, your basketball knowledge is limited. So I am waiting. I'm going to break that out on you one day, Cam. So just wait. It's coming. He's like, your basketball knowledge is limited. I was watching that live. I said, no, I gotta pluck that one. That's coming into the meme market.
So very serious house of all the things that pull out, you pulled out.
Your basketball knowledge is very limited.
That's that one tender nugget. I love it.
I don't know. He was telling a lie, obviously. He was telling a lie, obviously. All right, big guy. Have a good one, man.
All right, good night, bro.
All right, man. We're running way late, man. We're gonna jump in right into our picks from last week. We're gonna review our picks. And we're gonna review our picks from last week. Let me just leave it at that, and then we can move forward. We're gonna give you a break on your Seahawks, even though there was a embarrassing performance to lose to Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. Because that was one of the losses. We both picked the Vegas Raiders to lose to the Dolphins, even though that went to overtime. To beat the Dolphins, even though that went to overtime. Seattle we had, Carolina we had. They won. Buffalo won. Cleveland won. Baltimore won. Tennessee won. Kansas City. Those Chargers stepped up. We both had Kansas City. The Chargers stepped up and won that game, surprisingly.
Did I really pick? I don't remember picking the Dolphins on me.
Well, you did. What are you talking about? We both picked the Raiders to beat the Dolphins. What are you talking about?
Okay, gotcha. I thought you said it the other way around. Excuse me.
Oh, my bad. You had the Patriots beating the Saints. I had the Saints beating the Patriots.
Good for you.
I had the Giants. I had the Giants beating the Falcons, and you had some trust in the Falcons winning that game. They won that game. The Bengals, we both had the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Bengals, and Big Ben hit the wall, apparently, huh? Would you say, what's your favorite term about football?
Football players age in dog years, Cam.
And we're seeing it right now. Carolina, or the Cardinals, the Cardinals beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars tried their 60-yard punt, their 60-yard field goal, and it got ran back on them. Or no, that was the Cardinals that tried it on them, and they got the field goal.
Jacksonville ran it back, correct?
Yeah. We both had Denver. Now, come on, Denver. We both had Denver winning this game over the Jets. Somebody's a little too full of the Denver Broncos now, and we'll get to that next in this week's picks. I had the Rams over Tampa Bay. They actually throttled the Buccaneers. You had the Buccaneers. We both had Green Bay. As I mentioned earlier, I had the Eagles over Dallas, and we saw what happened in that game. Dallas throttled those guys. So I had Vegas -4, New Orleans plus 3.5, and Philly +4, and I only won one of those games. You had Washington +9 winner, Atlanta +3 winner, Green Bay +3.5 winner. So you went 3 for 3 in that competition there.
Perfection.
Well, settle down now. Our confidence picks: Denver. I had Denver, Carolina, Arizona, Cleveland, and Baltimore. That was perfection. You had Baltimore, Seattle, Carolina, Denver, and Arizona. Seattle, yeah, you had Seattle over. You had Seattle at number 2 and lost that one. I mean, you want to tell the people what happened in Seattle? You want to let them know? Oh, okay. Yeah, you got real quiet there. Real quiet, fans. You know how that works. Fans, we're not going to leave you without doing this week in history. With this week in history, October 3rd, 1904, Bethune-Cookman College opened in Daytona Beach, Florida. They were credited for having the Daytona Beach. When they had their break, everybody would go to in the early to mid 90s, when they had their summer break, everybody would go Daytona Beach, and Bethune-Cookman was the host of Black Spring Break in Daytona Beach, which was an outstanding weekend if you've been there. October 1st, 1962, James Meredith became the first Black student at Mississippi University. That's when they had to call in the National Guards because they didn't want segregation down there. October 2nd, 1967, Thurgood Marshall was sworn in as the first Black Supreme Court Justice in 1967. And September 29, 1975, WGPR TV in Detroit became the first Black-owned news station in the U.S. They began their broadcasting back in 1975. And September 29, 1992, Magic Johnson announced that he's coming back. He's coming back to professional basketball, and he lasted about 6 weeks before he finally retired again. The power forward position, he wasn't happy enough at the power forward position, I guess. He retired in November of that year. Looking at it, did you watch Peyton and Eli last Monday night? Are you a fan yet, or you still rather watch the regular telecast of the Monday Night Football?
You know, I like the way they're growing into the position. I did watch it last week as we spoke, and I watched a little bit this week. Unfortunately, the person I had was Nick Saban was on.
Oh, okay.
So, it was kind of a turnoff. You know what I'm saying?
It was hysterical.
It's kind of a turnoff. So, I like the way, Peyton and Eli kind of freestyle and kind of do their thing, and they kind of get into it. Unfortunately, I missed all the LeBron stuff and all that, stuff. But yeah, I was kind of on the Saban part of it, and so it was kind of like,
All right, real quick, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but do you think LeBron could have played NFL football?
No,
I don't. A lot of people are like, yes, he's the strongest man who doesn't get hurt. He would have had no problem. I'm like, it's a different game. A different game. If he's crying because guys are elbowing him when he goes to the hole, the guys are going to be trying to take his head off when he comes across the middle at tight end. And then he's 6'9". That's a lot of body to hit, and you can't really hide on the NFL court. I don't think so, but a lot of people have confidence that he could have played. Really funny thing, man. The funniest thing, it happened within the first 2 minutes of that Peyton Eli telecast. Peyton Manning, I love to watch Peyton Manning, the frustration he shows when things aren't going good on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't know if you watch it long enough to see that, but when the fans in the first game when the fans were cheering when the team were on offense, Peyton's like, these guys, they need to be educated. Like, they don't get it. Like, you're supposed to be quiet when your team has the ball, and then you cheer on when they're on defense. And the frustration he was showing, because Peyton is always good for this, and the frustration he was showing was just so comical. So one of the teams, they jumped off sides, and Peyton's like, "Oh no, don't jump off sides!" But he lifts up his arms, and it's the first 2 minutes of the show, and he has a sweaty armpit, and Eli's like, "Peyton, what, you couldn't put on any deodorant today? You didn't have enough time to put on deodorant today? You got a sweaty armpit?" He's like, "What's going on over in your house? I got the AC on. It's nice and cool over here. What's going on over there?" It was, and so Peyton caught himself. He's like, he went to go raise his arm. Eli's, no, Peyton, don't raise your hands. Don't raise your arms above your head. Don't do it. And so Peyton sat like this for a couple plays. He was sitting like this, and then you catch him. He'd be like, oh, he's like, oh, like this. It was just so comical just to see these two go at it, man. It's I'm just wondering, like, who's gonna be for an NBA game, for a baseball game. A network is going to do this. I guarantee a network will have this telecast, this type of telecast. The only thing I can see is like a Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin kind of have this kind of conversation. But then, like, are they going to be? They're going to get too excited. Those two might get too excited and get too into it.
That's more of like a Gary Payton, Chris Webber kind of thing when they were on NBA TV. It was a tad bit over the top. Peyton and Eli are still more conservative. They still attract a lot of that good old boy, but they have a lot of insight because they're both, they're Super Bowl winning quarterbacks who
they're understanding the game. Yeah, like they get it from day one. So it has to be a player. You don't necessarily have to be a Super Bowl winner, but it has to be players that when you hear their name, they're like, oh yeah, I want to hear him talk. And who is that going to be? It's Shannon Sharp could do that with somebody. John Elway could do it with somebody that you want to hear, you want to listen to. Peyton obviously has that cachet, but a network's going to try this. As I watched the evolution of this show, I mean, it's rivaling. No, let me not get carried away. It's the best football show on TV, best football content on TV right now. Period, without question. Not counting PTI. Without question, it's the best football show on television. Without question, it's not even close. I was going to try to say it's kind of rivaling the inside the NBA, but it's I mean that's so far beyond. It's just is making they're cementing themselves as number 2, I guess, because again, inside the NBA is just beyond everything else. But it's excellent, man. Just continue turn it on early because it's. They're cracking jokes. I'm enjoying it from the first moment to kickoff, and even then, they're taking a break this week, and Eli's like, "What? I've seen you too much this week. Whether it's on the telephone or FaceTime or you guys are at the house talking to mom. I've seen too much of you this week. I need 2 or 3 weeks off." So I don't have to hear you. I don't have to talk to you for 2 or 3 weeks. And Peyton's like, well, you're not the only one, Eli. And so they come together in week 7. So it's very comical. It's a very good thing that they're doing. Right into our predictions for week 3. I got Miami Dolphins in Miami beating up the 0-3 Colts. And you got Indy. Why do you have Indy winning this game?
Strong running game, good defense. I'm not 100% sold that Jacoby Brissett is the answer at quarterback.
Who's the answer at quarterback?
Tua Tagovailoa once his ribs are healthy.
Oh, once he's healthy, once he comes off his injury, but correct. he's on IR now, October 17th, buddy.
Okay.
One of the most easily predicted things in sports that Tua is going to get hurt. Seattle Seahawks travel to San Francisco. I have San Francisco winning this game. I have Seattle dropping to 1-3, and you obviously have Seattle. Why do you think Seattle can beat San Francisco?
Don't really. Just think that if they fall 3 games behind in the division, pretty much the playoffs are a long distant memory, and hopefully they still have playoff aspirations. Whether I think they do or not is irrelevant. But if they do, they should win this game.
All right, we both had Cincinnati over Jacksonville. We both had the football team over the Falcons. We both have Bills over the Texans, Detroit over the Bears, Dallas over the Panthers, which should be a decent game, right? Dallas and the Panthers. We both have the Browns over the Vikings, New Orleans over the Giants, Tennessee over the Jets, KC over the Eagles. I have, and so I'm assuming you're hoping that Arizona knocks off the Rams just to get you a game closer. I guess that's your hope there because I have the Rams beating Arizona. Is that your hopes?
Not convinced the Rams can score enough points.
Are you convinced Arizona can score enough points?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. We both have, or you have Denver. See, this is what I'm talking about. Denver over the Ravens. I got the Ravens over the Broncos. Why do you think Denver can beat the Ravens?
Well, because the Baltimore Ravens were a 66-yard field goal away from losing to the Detroit Lions last week. And the Denver Broncos are a much better team than the Detroit Lions.
Denver's playing good. They're playing good defense. Teddy Bridgewater staying consistent as we expected. So Denver is putting up some points. I just don't think they're that good to where they can beat the Ravens, who plays good defense regardless who's back there, who's wearing the jersey or not. The team just plays good defense, and I think they'll be able to run the ball on the Broncos and run themselves to a win. Well, we both have Green Bay over the aging Steelers. We both have Tampa Bay over the Patriots. And you're going with they've made you a fan now. You're going with the Chargers over the Raiders, huh? They made you a fan.
They made me a fan.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That's good to know that you can learn.
I don't know if fan's the right word. I certainly respect them.
They bought your respect. Okay,
they've earned my respect. Yeah, you got to be somebody. That's how I feel.
I have Tennessee in my picks against the spread. I have Tennessee minus the 7.5 against the Jets. I have the Rams minus the 5.5 or 5 against the Cardinals.
Ooh,
yeah, they'll beat them.
LL.
And I have Tampa Bay minus a 6.5 over the Patriots.
Oh, man, you're going 0 for 3.
You think the Patriots is going to keep it
listen
close?
To young Sam. Should listen to young Sam. I'm just saying, I got some advice for you because your picks right now are garbage, man. You're about to lose the farm, my friend.
Well, you got Indy plus 2. I don't expect that to happen against the Dolphins. You got the Detroit Lions. All of a sudden, you're a Lions fan. Plus 3 over the Bears. That game could have went either way. I just don't see the Lions. I saw a lot of disappointment, a heartache in the Lions' face during the press conferences, and I think the Bears they get a chance to kind of get their young quarterback going at home. I think they're going to get their young quarterback going at home, and then you have Denver Broncos -1 against the Baltimore Ravens. They're -1 at home. Man, come on, man. They're -1 at home. That should tell you something. I see you didn't put Denver in your confidence pick, so because in your confidence picks you have Tampa Bay, KC, New Orleans, Tennessee, and Buffalo.
Pretty confident.
I have Cincinnati, KC, New Orleans, Buffalo, and Tampa Bay. That's my confidence picks. Voice of the fans. Next week, we'll have our first supremacy rankings. Next week, 4 weeks into the seasons, we'll give you a ranking on who we think is the top 5 teams in the NFL. Do you want to do AFC, NFC, or do you want to just do top 5 teams in the NFL?
Top 5 in the NFL.
And then our fantasy records. Right now, we're both 2-1. Both of us took a loss last week. So we're both 2-1 in the Voice of the Fans Fantasy Football League. Cleveland. Now we're going to close the show. Talk about your Seattle Mariners. Are they going to get in?
All I'm going to say, Cam. All I'm going to say, Cam, because I don't want you putting your stank on them. I don't want you putting your bad juju on them. They're half game out of the wild card. That's all I'm going to say.
I got one. Answer my
question.
No. Are they going to?
I'm not going to answer no more questions. I'm superstitious, just like the Mariners are superstitious. I'm not going to answer your question.
Cleveland, you've talked about this for the last 7 weeks.
Away.
You talked about the
Cam,
Mariners.
You're on mute. Cam, I've muted you.
You're ruining your own superstition. You're ruining your own superstition. You're not talking about them now. This is amazing. He doesn't want to talk about his team now. I can't believe it, fans. But maybe that shows us the confidence that he has in the team. Maybe that kind of shows us the confidence that he has in the guys. Fans, we had want to thank the guy from Hoops and Brews, Pavy. I wanted him on at the same time, but we got Pavy, then we got Thomas, we got TPJ. Thank them both for coming on. Shout out to Hoops and Brews. If you're watching the show on Hoops and Brews on H&B Media on YouTube, we thank you. Go ahead and subscribe to our Voice of the Fans on YouTube as well, because I will have a lot of content. NBA is getting started up right now, so I have some NBA content on there. I do cover the Chargers, so I have a lot of pre and post game content on there. We got a big game on Monday night against the Raiders, so I'll definitely have a game recap for you because that is a home game. So I have a lot of Chargers content on there as well. But I got some miscellaneous content for you race car driving fans. Here recently was at the Long Beach Grand Prix over the last weekend, so you'll see some race car content on there. Make sure, so go ahead and subscribe to the Voice of the Fans on YouTube. To all the fans that check us out every week, we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to our show. And then hit Cleavon up. Cleavon, where can they find you?
At Cleavon on Twitter and Cleavon Steele on Instagram.
Hit Cleavon up and see if he'll answer your question. If the Seattle Mariners can end this streak, the longest running major league professional sports team not to make the playoffs. We want to know if the Seattle Mariners can end the streak. I've been trying to ask Cleavon. You see, he's ignoring me. Acts like he's not hearing me, but he hears me just fine. He talked about them for the last 8 weeks, but he won't talk about them now that they're a week away and this close to making the playoffs. I say they won't make the playoffs. Cleavon says they will make the playoffs, and we're going to see what happens if they make the playoffs. Fans, I want to thank you guys also for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. As always, go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review our show. And then, as always, fans, thank you for making our voice your choice. Have a good one, fans.
Good night, everyone.